Hello, chat. Hello there, and welcome back to the stream. Let me go ahead and make sure everything is in order. The link to the stream has been shared to Discord, and we are good to go. Hello, Jackson. Welcome back to the stream. Hello, Nakira, Arena.
You haven't quite hit your reps for today. Come on,
Wait.
one more set.
One more set, she says. Just one more set. Do I have some weights? This is squatting tree.
Did you hear
6,
what happened with the sky
7,
in that land?
8,
The sky in Natland.
9,
Oh,
10.
what happened?
Alright, good enough. Hello, Ashley. Welcome into the stream. I don't think I've seen you before. Whee! Chat. The agenda for today. It's everything about COLUMBINA before she is released. Well, and even though I am such a trust creator that I do not have an invitation from Hoyoverse to a special club called Early Access Creator. But a lot of wonderful content creators out there have gotten early access to COLUMBINA, and they have made extremely helpful videos. So we're gonna go right through all of that, combined with all my knowledge from the back alley leaks, forbidden channels. We are going to filter through all of those information from the early access video and condense the most useful things for you, chat. Hello, Ari. Barrett. Early access already here. It is. They are. So yes, of course, we can take a look at a few of those. All only the content creators that are the most diligent and have already gotten their video out will be looked at. And the ones that
Come take a look.
drag their feet, the ones that take more of their time procrastinating,
People seem to think I was born with
most likely to see Ox,
But look at me. This tiny frame is what my genetics gave me.
will not
My
be
strength
looked at
comes from
today.
Consistent training with
Content creators.
Put in the same work,
Right.
and you can absolutely get the same results.
Well, I'm just glad I am not currently in the fight myself and just sitting on the sideline crying, enjoying the fight. Chat, this is the joy bait stream. The hell do I mean by that? The opposite of rage bait, of course. And by doing that, we are showing all our love, our appreciation for the content creator scene in Genshin Impact. And as a small content creator myself, potentially I can learn a thing or two from all of these wonderful videos. All that yap aside, I am going to spend my resin real quick. Don't mind me. The usual stuff. Hello, Dinav. Yo, but you two Josh shot was there. Is it about COLUMBINA? Joy bet after all the rage bet you experienced 6 hours ago. What bet? What rage bet? There is only flowers and rainbows and horse over here. Wait, horse? Horses. Uma. I refuse to elaborate. Alright. Chat, where are we? Oh. I think with this account I can farm a little bit for Mona. It is today, right? It is today. You're eating a bird! Oh, no way! A bird! A chicken. Oh, that kind of bird. Yeah, that kind of bird is fine.
Add astro.
What? Do you care about monkeys, humans? What do you expect a pigeon to care about chicken? It's your dinner! Hello there! Actually. It's your dinner. Hello there. It's your dinner. Welcome back to the stream, Dino. The big cutting out. Yeah. Of course. What's my stream trying? You know what good chicken smelling? I understand maybe 25% of that sentence. Of course.
By royal decree, into the shadows.
What is the website to check all the imaginary theater? Yeah, about that. So we are about to not have that website with links.
Justice will work.
Because they're gold. Don't mind me. Why did I do that? I don't know. The website is about to no longer have links anymore. It is HomesCat. And Home's about to retire from putting links on the website. It is truly a tragic day in the Genshin Impact League scene.
I created another universe and founded paradise.
This is the website, chat.
And the princess.
This is where you can find information about the next Imaginarium Theater. But do keep in mind that HomesCat Wiki will only update live game data in the future, so there is no longer any leak information on there. Whichever information that has been updated will continue to be here, but they're gonna no longer update the information early anymore. That's basically what it is. For now, next theater, it's going to be Pyro, Hydro, and Geo. Rip HomesCat, welcome Homo Kiching, indeed. I was just learning that Homo Kiching is a Honkai Star Liquor too, maybe 1 day or 2 days ago. What's going to replace that website? Let me double check. There's one called Project Amber. Now, all of these websites don't have as much detailed information as the HomesCat website. Characters, weapons, artifact, traveler, archive. Yeah, this there's no information about Endgame on this one. There's another one that's called Hakushin. The information in here is also not the most... Oh, I'm gonna need English. Where's the English? There we go. There is some information about imaginary material. There. I'm gonna need some time to get used to this. There's information about this. Man, I'm so used to home chat website. There is Tomo Subduer, which is technically Steve John's slot. I don't know why they have not changed the name. A big problem with this is it does not have the enemy's HP. So we're still gonna see enemies' mechanics, but it's not detailed with HP like this, for example. All of the options we have as alternative are kind of scuffed. You just pull Celonan with your Columbina saving, and are you happy with that? Say Suraj, welcome in the stream. You're mostly interested in Stygian, yeah, there's that information. The HP is not fully available. Six. Oh, that's enough. Alright, let's grab them. Absolutely! Then congratulations for spending your Columbina funds on Celonan. The decision to pull is always extremely personal for everyone. And if you're happy with your pulling decision, I'm glad for you. I'm not supposed to go here. I'm not supposed to go here. I'm supposed to craft my materials. Why do I just go to Lebanon? It's a muscle memory at this point. You have about 50 pulls. Will I pull for Columbina for you? Absolutely. I will do my best. My best. I'm gonna wrap Columbina up with a bow tie. Against her will. Just like nod-krai. And I'm gonna ship her to you. Looking forward to Sunday. With our best help. How good is C6 Celonan? My knowledge of the character ends at C2, but I can absolutely take a look at C6 for you. I think that all of her support capability ends at C3, right? Let me double check. And C6 is mostly for her on-field stuff. C3 is the constellation regarding her skill, your scratch. Yep. C4, after Celonan uses your scratch, you will grant only by party member a blooming blessing. Characters of blooming blessing deal 65% of Celonan's defense as increased normal charge attack, triggering 6 times when the duration ends. Okay, let me double check. How big of an increase is this? 3500 times 0.65. Actually, that's decent. When Celonan is Nice Soul Blessing state. When she sprints, leap, or use normal plunge attack, she will gain imperishable Nice Blessing, ignoring limitation of her Nice Soul Blessing and increasing the damage dealt by her normal and plunge attack. Okay, this is the DPS constellation. Don't place it alone as a DPS. Don't. So, for supporting capability, really the constellation ends at C4. And the increase from C3 and C4 is somewhat minor in comparison to her C2. Her C1 is also not that good. If you like the character and if you want to spend your hard-earned Primo Gem or hard-earned in real life money on her, that's absolutely fine. Make sure you enjoy the character first, because the returns on investment on her C3 and C4 is not a lot. That's gonna be an increase, but most of the time you're gonna have a bigger increase by pulling for a DPS constellation or a DPS weapon. You got Furry Woman! Yusha Wang! 13 PD, welcome! Oh my god, my brain is having a brain fart. I meant to say welcome into the stream and also congratulations, Debbie. Jesus fucking Christ. Let me get this girl to level 9 talent. Whee!
Come take a look. There will definitely be something that catches your eye.
Your resistance shred and things that is enough to get enemies to below 0 resistance shred. The return on investment is a little bit less. From the damage formula, any resistance threat that goes below 0, the effectiveness of that is half.
Add Astro.
But if we're meeting an enemy that has gigantuan resistance threat, so reducing, for example, reducing an enemy resistance from 70 down to 30 is more impactful from reducing an enemy's resistance from 10 to negative 30. So in both cases, 70 to 30, that's 40 difference. 10 to negative 30 is also a 40% difference. Additively, but the first case is more efficient in terms of increasing our damage. Hope that makes sense. Alright, and what am I to spend my 1 condensed resin? Mora's never wrong. Today is so hot. Yeah, I saw the image you posted enough. Sometimes it still surprises me to notice that countries in the southern hemisphere are currently in summer right now. But such is the wonder of seasons of different countries. And I'm here shivering in my butt. I mean my boots. Cause it's insane! Winter weather. What's this? Version satisfaction survey. How much you gonna give me for that? Nah, I don't need that. Send some heat. Don't worry, chat. There's gonna be certainly some heat from the content creator early access video we're gonna see later of COLUMBINA. Cook yourself an hour until Pork Jam early sneak peek. Pork Jam. What's my thought? Hello, Widow on Twitch. What's my thoughts on Mahuika Silale Silonan Sucrose VV giving a 96% shred? My thoughts on that is it is better to use a different characters than Silonan or Sucrose to give a different buff instead of continue stacking resistance shred. There's gonna be case where the resistance 96% resistance shred gonna be useful, but not always. That's why we often see Mahuika Bayonet Silonan Silali, or Mahuika Bayonet Sucrose Silali, or Mahuika Ian-san Silonan Silali or Sucrose Silali.
This land holds nothing but promise.
It is better to stack some different buffs onto a character, usually. Unless that one similar buff is big enough, and usually that's the case for Bennett. This is good enough. Let's continue with artifacts farming. Oh boy, I love artifacts farming. Planning to join our team? You can absolutely do that.
Thank you for...
If you play Sucrose with Silale, then one of them can use TTDS while the other can use a different weapon that helps with energy. Usually that is going to be Silale TTDS, because after Silale you are not going to have Pyro to swirl with Sucrose. So you could use Sucrose Sac Frank, Silale TTDS, or Sucrose Favonius, Silale TTDS. Naruto Uzumi, good to see you in the stream. You would like to see a character like Chaska, but instead of using on-field to get her bullets colored, you want someone that can do it off-field. Like Infusion? Like Sucrose, Venti, Kazuha, Sayu. Well, technically Sayu does that on field. Lynette? Yahoda? Oh, you mean something else? Because all those characters have infusion in their Anemo abilities. Oh, you want the RNG? I see. Not about Not about getting exactly what you want with the sword and infusion, but it's about the RNG. All right, I got you. In that case, I don't think there's any character currently.
Be silent. Close your eyes. Fear the dark.
Why Sucrose on live support? We don't ask. She's fine, chat. She's fine. You're very slow at building your characters. Can I give you some advice in building characters? What do you often do when you try to build your characters, and which part of character building are you talking about? Are you talking about talents? Are you talking about getting a character from level 0 to level 90? You're talking about building the weapons? You're talking about building the talents? Or you're talking about getting artifacts? Or you're talking about everything as a whole? Because everything as a whole does take a long time. There is not much way to go around that. If you want to fully build a character, you just have to do everything. Now, there are characters that can make do with neglecting some part of their build. And that can be tiny shortcut to get take when building a character. This is okay, right? Great damage HP EM is a fine COLUMBINA thing. Cope. You would say artifacts? There's no other way to go about it. The best thing you can do is to know which artifacts to keep and which artifact to let go. Usually, for a character that can use more good substats, it's easier to farm for them. Because we are more likely to stumble upon an artifact that has a substat that is usable by them. Flames can use crit damage, crit rate, attack, recharge, and elemental mastery. Elemental mastery kind of have a little bit of asterisk, but it's usable. So I'm very likely to stumble upon an artifact that is good for him. However, let's take a look at a character that only have 3 good substats. This character can only use crit rate, crit damage, and HP. Nothing else is really useful for this guy. So the artifact for this guy has to be incredibly specific. And we cannot just use anything we wish. Throw at them. I have a feeling that... alright, that's fine. Can I explain how your holder work? Yes, I can. Give me a moment. Crit rate, defense, and recharge. Crit rate, attack, and recharge is okay enough for me to keep it. Crit damage, EM, HP. This looks like an on-field Bina situation. Sure, I'll keep that. You don't understand that character. That character is bad enough that if she is not C6, you don't need to understand her. Flames! This is a different Flames than I remember. I remember your Flames have... What's the thing called? Jet Wing Spear? 24 crit substats with enough energy recharge? This is slightly sus. But if you play him official, then can be fine. If you have some more bonus holding characters in his team, that can be fine. I first look at this and I think, oh, it's okay. But then I see C1, which is requiring a tiny bit more ER. With this, I'm gonna go with 140 minimum and 145-ish. Regardless, all of these are useful substats. This is a really good build. This is a build with a total of 24 plus 7, that is 31, 32, 33. Technically, I'm gonna count EM as half of substat. It's 34 substats. It's really nice. Oh, I would say get a bit more crit rate if you can, but it's not the end of the world if you cannot, because your crit damage is only just 200. So this is already close to 1 to 2. Never? Alright. Load your fragile flames. I mean, that will be solved with a never. Fragile flames are enough less flames usually.
Let us have a
Never.
modicum of patience for the richness.
Alright, nice
and
priority
complexity
on her
of
talent.
humanity. The wanton cruelty of
C1
the
R1,
fiends is not
nice.
worth our ire.
Do you have C2 Nahida? That will be the determining factor. If you have C2 Nahida and you use C2 Nahida in her team, then you can go with 50% crit rate. But if you don't have C2 Nahida, you should go with 60% crit rate. Assuming you have C2 Nahida, that boosts her by 10 more crit rate. This is a good build. 20 crit subs with 4 more EM sub. Nice. It's a good build. C0 Nahida, then you should really try to find more crit rate with a character that has this much crit damage. Every time you don't crit, you are losing out the chance to bring out the huge damage from your crit.
To peer into the abyss needs simply to wander through
A character that has even more crit damage, they will value crit rate even more, because every time they're missing a crit, they're missing out a lot.
him into the darkness.
It is very exemplified by the fact that Nefer holds her weapon as well, giving her 36 more crit damage. Lauma giving her 20 more crit damage. I mean, at the end of the day, this is 89% crit damage, crit rate, and it's close enough, like within 10%, so I'm not gonna jump on that too much. But it's still favorable if you can do that. And anyhow, Nefer artifact situation is kind of cooked because EM main stat is quite rare. It's generally take a long time to get perfect artifacts on her. I'm not gonna believe this. 2 seconds ago on Novelat. All right, let's see. Let's see. Alekino and Novelat. All right. For Ammo Summer, I'm gonna take a look at that in a moment. Holy shit! You got an 98% crit rate! I'm proud of you, Harry! Okay, this is a build with 24 crit subs, 3 HP subs. The little bit of energy recharge is generally also useful for Novelat, just as insurance for whenever he, even with his signature weapon, it's nice to have 1 or 2 energy recharge subs. This is a really well built Novelat. I would advise just, if you continue planning to build him, just find some more straight HP percent substats. But yeah. This is nice. 24, 25, 26, 27, 28, 29. It's a good build. You want to replace his goblet in the future with HP. It's close enough that you don't have to care about that. In his premium team, You know what? In a Farina C2 team, then I think, yeah. No, Ceylon C2 brings it back actually. HP versus Hydro is close enough for him that you can use whichever is better. I was thinking Farina C2 does give more damage bonus, but then Ceylon C2 gives more HP percent, so it kind of balances out. Chat miss? Would you like to copy paste that, chat? Alekino and Novaland for Anmo Shama. Novaland. This weapon is... This weapon is okay-ish for him. I am not a big advocate for this weapon. On average, it is somewhat similar to Prototype Amber on average in total damage, because this guy likes both HP and crit. I would advise at least finding a crit circlet for him. And there is definitely room to get this to 100% crit rate. Let me see. 48.6 plus 36 minus 13.2 plus 31.1. If you replace this with a crit rate circlet, you would immediately have as close to 100% crit rate as possible. There's actually a 2.5% overcap, but I think that's fine. That's less than one substat. And I would also recommend, if you have this much crit damage, you want more crit rate to preserve as close as possible to a 1 to 2 crit rate to crit damage ratio. And because crit rate is only overcapping at 100, if crit damage is over 200, we get 100 crit rate. Anyhow, this is a 29 crits subs build with energy recharge. This is useful. And HP percent, you don't seem to have some stray HP percent, but that's fine because this is technically a 3 HP percent build. This is a good build, save the fact that I think this can be better just simply by going for a crit circlet. Saw a video from 7place saying the Lunar Crystallize can be spammed, not following the normal ICD for Crystallize. Does it change anything on count, or is it a preload bug? It does not change anything on calculations. It has already been... At least I know my calculation has always been calculated that way. I don't know if other people have been calculating it that way or not. This, yep, I take this. 26 crit subs. Alekino is a character that likes crit quite a bit. Now this is a great build. If you play her in Vaporize or Melt, then get a little bit more Elemental Mastery for her. This is already a great build. Nice. Yeah, nice. Talent priority is good. Does it count toward Navia Bullet at all? Yes, it does. The new Lunar Crystallize will give Navia a bullet whenever the Lunar Crystallize reaction is triggered. It does not, it no longer creates an elemental shot on the ground. But Navia will also not have to get that elemental shot, and just whenever Lunar Crystallize triggers, she gains a bullet. In practice, it's not really that much difference because Navia pulls the Crystallize shots to herself anyway. It's just basically is, yeah, she works. All good over here. Let's claim that. Navia buff. If you play Navia Silonen, Furina, and what's the character? Columbina. Yeah, brain fart. She does a bit more damage than before when compared to playing Navia Silonen, Furina, Yelan. Or Navia Silonen, Furina, Bennett. Hello Emerald, welcome back to stream. Navia Silonen double pyro for attack. That's fine. It's a little bit worse than Furina Yelan, I think. But double check. Navia Silonen, Furina Yelan. 91.5k. If you sweat and go with Slingshot Yelan, or you have a great weapon for Yelan, that's chicken news. 91.5. It's basically kind of dependent on Furina and Yelan's weapon, to be honest. You can go anywhere from 75 to 81.1 if you have a great weapon for Furina, and if you have a great weapon for Yelan, that's 91.5. Let's check the version with Bennett. Bennett with Mavuika. Oh, actually, you can use Durin for here too. Nowadays. Bennett Mavuika is 85. Close enough. You can use whichever and be fine with it. Oh, have I already claimed my box?
Dandelions? Of course they're flowers.
Columbina only transform reaction and not cause non-NK character deal lunar damage. Yeah.
You're high up. Everyone add Ash.
Columbina basically brings the new ID reaction to any team she is in and brings her personal damage. That is mostly her contribution to different teams. But generally, her damage is big enough that many of the old teams still have a tiny increase in their damage, even if they are not lunar-based teams. Harvey does. Welcome to the stream. How are you doing? Navia C1R1, Silonen C2R1, and then you use Bennett and whatever pyro up. Nice. Artifacts, here we go. Let's cope. Do I think we're gonna get another lunar reaction type or no? I don't. There can be a slight chance, but most likely not. This is likely gonna be the release order of the upcoming characters. Let me bring up the silhouette too. Genshin silhouette, whatever that word is pronounced. Why is this picture trash? Yeah, this is a standard character. There's not gonna be any new lunar reaction here. This is Varka. He's not lunar. Nico, she's Hexarian, not lunar. Linear, maybe. This looks like a 4-star, and a 4-star usually don't bring any new reaction. This is a Gretel, which is a Mondstadt 4-star. Whoever this is, I don't know if this is actually Sandroni. It doesn't really look like Sandroni from the what I see, reflection that I see. Maybe, but also maybe not. If there is any character that brings a new lunar reaction, it has to be this character or no one at all. The chance is very slim. Standard from what region? Don't know yet. I think Lohan is mentioned to be from Knights of Favonius, so it's likely. I'm not entirely certain on that information, but it's likely to be from Mondstadt. Who am I getting next patch? Columbina, Zebai, Inefa. Columbina will complete only one full team of yours. Which second team you should pull next? Hex team, what should be a full Alice team, and what should be Sandroni full team? Sandroni's Nationalia team. From whatever little information we know, it seems that Varka, Dorin, and Nicole may be a team. Alice is not gonna be released during nod-krai. And Sandroni may be a bundle with someone else. Maybe a character that people has been calling the Frost Maiden. Varka talked about Lohan in On Conquest. Alright, so it's likely gonna be a Mondstadt character. You're going for Columbina C0R1, hope to win 50-50 on weapon as you don't have enough. I hope you win 50-50 on your weapon. Columbina weapon is okay. Is honestly what you would expect from an off-field DPS weapon. It is a nice increase, but when Columbina's damage is not the majority of team's damage, so basically when she is an off-field character, it's not the best increase you can get for a team. However, if you play Columbina as an on-field DPS, then her weapon is worth a bit more. And usually if you play Columbina as an on-field DPS, you would like to have Lauma, because Columbina Charge Attack is specifically doing Lunar Bloom damage. Yeah, these are all corpses. Alright. Am I gonna joy bait you? Baker. You disgustingly wholesome person in chat. I hate it, absolutely feeling hateful toward you whenever you are pulling me and chat out of despair with your wholesome jokes. And when I am at the lowest points of my life, You just have to swoop in and take me out of it. Why, Pika? Why? Unbelievable. You know what? That's honestly fine. I'm broke enough. You gotta play on-field Columbina as you skip all the nod-krai DPSs. Yeah. Make sure to get Llama. That's the single best character for Columbina on-field. You can also play Columbina with Inefa as the dual off-field character. How's Zubai? The best Lunar DPS? The best Lunar DPS if you only pull two 5-star character. Columbina Zubai is better than Columbina Flint, it's better than Columbina Nefer, it's better than Columbina Llama, it's better than Columbina Inefa. Columbina Zubai is worse than Columbina Flint Inefa. Columbina Zubai is worse than Columbina Nefer Llama. So if you want to say I only have enough funding to pull 2 characters specifically, then Columbina Zubai is the best option. But if you can pull 3 5-star, then pull the ZR, the triple bundle instead, and that will be doing more damage. Depends on your funding. Depends on whether you plan to pull for more character in the future regarding the Lunar thing. Your artifacts are also as join the club. Alright, Jack. Let's take a look at a few early access videos. What will be the best team with the nod-krai? Only nod-krai character you're gonna have is Columbina and Llama. Columbina on-field DPS. You play Columbina as an on-field DPS. Llama will buff Columbina's Lunar Bloom charge attack and Lunar Bloom skill damage. And also you put a Hydro character in from off-field. It's likely gonna be Yelan. 2-1. Trigger some Hyper Bloom. And 2. Reduce Columbina's energy recharge needs. And finally, you put in the last character being Kukishinobu. So it's Columbina, Llama, Kukishinobu, and Yelan, for example. You could also do Xingqiu instead of Yelan. You could do Farina instead of Yelan. And it'll be okay. Do you mind checking your Novelat, Mawika? Absolutely. How dare I praise you? I'm sorry, truly. I have no idea what else to do with life other than praising other people. It is a curse I have. You beautiful bastard. Could you do Mona and Raiden? Yes, but also who's your healer? Mona is not amazing. For Columbina, because Mona... Well, Mona is not amazing for Lunar Bloom Columbina. Mona is fine for Lunar Charge Columbina because Mona has a passive Well, technically C1. But her C1 is kind of free. Lunar charge damage is increased, but lunar bloom damage is not mentioned in here. So Mona values a bit less for Columbina during in lunar bloom team. And Raiden as a Hyper Bloom trigger can be fine. If you prefer to play sustain less, you can play Raiden instead of Cookie Shinobu and just rely on your dodging skill mostly. On-field Columbina doesn't have to burst. Bursting is still nice. Bursting is team damage increase.
Protect us for the ever. Our bond is strong.
You don't have to specifically go out of your way to build energy recharge for Columbina, but adding another Hydro character is still helping the team be able to burst more. It's similar to the case of Nefer and Zubai. We don't have to build energy recharge for them to burst, but bursting is still nice for them. Can Nico fly as an angel? No idea. We don't have that information in beta or in any leak yet. We'll sing Chill in Cookie Shinobu. Yeah, that's fine. Alright, there was someone else I'm looking at the build of and I just forgot. Hold on, who is this? Novelet mà vui cả, okay. On-field Columbida's damage is 50% plus from Innova's Quills. They don't get buffed by lunar damage percent. They don't, but extra Verdant Dew is nice. Extra Verdant Dew is more damage from your Hyper Bloom, which is triggered by Cookie Shinobu, and Extra Verdant Dew is more Lunar Bloom damage, which is triggered by Columbina, skill, and charge attack. In one rotation. Columbina triggers her skill 3 times in one 18-second rotation, and each time that is 5 Lunar Bloom. Columbina does around 6 charge attack if you bat. 5 charge attack is probably what you are more likely to do. Another 15 Lunar Bloom. And if we see, this is already more than what Lauma can provide from tapping her skill. Lauma provides how many quills exactly? If we only tap her skill, we get 18 stacks of quills. Columbina alone needs 30 stacks. Combined with all the Hyper Bloom damage that Cookie Shinobu or Inefa or any electro character Raiden is triggering, bursting on Columbina gives extra Verdant Dew and allow Lauma to use hold skill, which increase her stack up to 36, and that is extra damage. It's 36 when Lauma burst and hold her skill. If we're just bursting, is 18. Alright, I'm getting very distracted. Alright, Mavuika. Triple Crown, that's nice. A lot of dedication here. I would say that if you play her in a male team, which is the very common team to play her in, or a vaporized team, you would like an elemental mastery stance instead of an attack stance. Now, if you play her in an overload team, then attack stance is fine. This is 23 crit subs for attack, that's 4 EM. 8 total, if we count both the EM subs, that is 31 subs. This is a good build. There is some room for improvement. I appreciate the fact that grid rate is as close to 100 as possible. Jim is a nerd, who would have thought? Prototype Amber, good to see it. Now, this is something that I would like to comment on. Novelet's charge attack talent, which is also normal attack talent, if you level this from 9 to 10, it provides a bigger increase than leveling both of his skill and burst from level 1 to level 9. So this says to me that maybe you don't know that. And if you want more damage from Novelet, simply grounding his charge attack talent is a lot. That is the majority of where his damage is coming from. This is fine. Crit damage is 200, so I'd say a 90% crit rate is okay. 24 crit subs, 3 HP, 27 subs. Good build. No worries, Kanagoshi. I'm not always right either, but the important thing when it comes to this discussion is to be open-minded. And if we miss something, simply thanks to the person for pointing out. Especially for me, especially sometimes I fall into the pit of, yeah, I know it all. But there's no one really can know it all. Our memories fail us. Sometimes we miss a detail, and we learn new things from time to time. Alright, what am I doing? This is depth. If I'm missing someone comments, just type that again. Great build. Anything I need to comment here? Nope. Great build. Slightly more crit rate is appreciated. This is for Pika. You want his burst talent to be at level 9. Before you get any more artifacts, get his burst talent to level 9. Preferably 10. Regarding artifacts, just get better quality. It should be fine. Energy recharge, get at least 110. Even with his signature weapon. 110. I would even consider going 115 or 120. Hi Wizard. Okay, let's bring up YouTube and look at a few early access videos. COLUMBINA in-depth, animation cancel, crystallize. Cool. Columbina Early Access. Ooh, Gacha Gamer, nice. Slice. I've not seen a lot of this creator before, but sure, we can take a look. Card for Blue Hat. This is usually a creator that focuses more on the aesthetic of the character. DHCWSP is a content creator that often wail Leviathan, and it's really good at gameplay. We can take a look at a few of those. I win to lose. Ooh, okay. Holy crap. Weightless. The Zabai stuff, cool. Moga. Soluna. I think every single of these content creators have been having their video in unlisted or something and then publish them, schedule them to publish at the exact same time. These are, holy crap, these are some diligent content creator out there. 10 hours ago, 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 10 hours ago. These fucking guys. I can never, chat. I can never stick to a video release schedule. 7 hours ago. Caught! Caught! Oh, that's me. Alright, who else do I want to take a look at? Does Jello Impact have a early access video? Jello Impact. No, Jello Impact does not have an early access this time around. Alright, who else do we know often have early access? Brad? No, we don't have a brand video yet. I don't think we're gonna see Zyok's video this soon, but we can check. Nope. Not yet. It's the 7 hours wanted to look at the group chat. Which weapon is good for flames? Staff with Scarlet Sun or the new craftable weapon R5? Staff with Scarlet Sun is better. If you have Staff with Scarlet Sun, you can use an attack Sun or an EM Sun. You can also use an attack goblet or an EM goblet. They are roughly equivalent. Doro? Oh yeah, Doro. Thank you. No. No, he's not made a video. Is this early access? I have no idea. Alright. Alright, that's good enough. Doc TV has early access in one of his shot. Alright, thank you, Gen5. I have not heard of Doc TV before. But we are always glad to learn more of content creator. Oh, wait, is that him, actually? Oh, that's Doc! Holy shit, I've seen this guy a few times, but I never... His name never registered for me. You'll be back in a sec? Alright. Voltaire have Columbina vid. Thank you. I said his name wrong again, isn't it? Voltaire. No, wait, no. No. Oh. Alright, sure. I'll take that. Take a look at that. I think DHP HWC also has a few videos on this. Yeah. This lad. Columbina early access, Constellation compare, Columbina early access, free to play versus Dolphin versus Whale. Alright. Cool. take a look. All right, chat. So these are some very diligent content creators in the Genshin Impact scene. And they have made, I believe, to be wonderful videos regarding COLUMBINA release. I, on the other hand, I am a trash content creator that don't have access to early access. But however, we can still take a look at the videos, the contents of these other amazing content creator and learn about COLUMBINA, as well as learn about their amazing diligentness in churning out these videos, and maybe I can learn a thing or two on how to be a better content creator as well. Today, we are engaging a joy betting stream and take a look at all these videos. At the end, I'm going to find the most unique information that is given by each of these videos and potentially give an award to the most helpful video, to the most hype video. We're going full game awards with this one. What are the other awards we can give for these people, these amazing people over here? The Law Award, the Sweaty Award, the Aesthetic Award, Production Value of Video, the Chill Award. Oh my god. More guys already here, don't worry. Guys, most unique, we shall see. The Early Access Award. Alright, chat, without further ado. The same award! Alright. Let's type a few of them down before I forget. The Hype Award. The Informative Award. The Sweat Award, as in sweaty gameplay. Before even watching these videos, I already can think of the contestant or the contender for these awards. The same award? Alright, same award. Aesthetic. The production value. The practical guide. You know what? That can be a thing. I want to think something that's not diving too deep into the things, but simply giving the people the most useful information as possible in a razor language kind of way. What would be a name to represent that kind of quality? I guess we can do razor language. It could be a name, but does anyone think of a more fun name? Sterling. Let me take a look. Let's go with unique perspective, and that's kind of one. Sweat awards going to I win to lose. We shall see. Quality of life. What would quality of life be? Can you give me a description on what that would look like? What kind of video, what kind of creator will we give to the quality of life award? Razor language award. We'll go with that. All right, let's go. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8. Good enough. Good enough. What's cooking on Loki's? Chat, what's cooking? Doug is asking. Oh boy, 7th place. Here we go. 7th place has been steadily become one of my... Ooh, that's 285 ping. Alright, I got distracted. 7th place has steadily become one of my favorite creators in the Genshin community regarding sweaty content. As in try hard, the mechanics intensive, and usually the guides to clear station. This guy is insane. I have taken a look and I only cleared die with my never thanks to the guide from this guy, this very patch. Let's take a look at what he has to offer about COLUMBINA early access. Alright, let me turn up the volume over here. Can I please rate your Alikino? Okay, sure. We can do that before we dive into the video here. Alikino. There's a lot of tabs, that is indeed. Why Tasokino? You want this talent to be level 10 before you level up any of these talents anymore. This is the most meaningful talent you can increase for Alikino, the normal attack. With this is an... Yeah, this is an okay build. Oh, that's quite a bit of elemental mastery, actually. That's nice. This is a good build. If you play her in a Vaporize or Melt team, this amount of elemental mastery is nice. Now, you would want to just increase the artifact's quality a little bit. If you want to improve her, Crit is gonna be a little bit nicer than attack percent substat or elemental mastery substat, and trying to get a tiny bit more crit rate for her is gonna be beneficial. Regardless, this is a good build. I would rate this out of 10. I mean, there's a lot of sweaty people. I'm gonna rate it 8.5. There are a lot more sweaty people when it comes to this build. No, 8. Sorry, 8. If you ground this talent, it's gonna be 8.5. Alright, let's go. Quality of life, who explains the passive that people don't talk about, and Easter egg. I think you are just grouping a lot of things here. There's a Razor language award for the people who explains things simply, and there is a... You know what? Easter egg is fine. Easter egg would be kind of in aesthetic, right? Or we can go with unique perspective. Let's go then.
I got early access to COLUMBINA, so today we're going to test some of her teams against the upcoming Stygian rotation. I will explain her kit, but also focus on
this guy again, the boss.
Kind of surprised me. It turns out that Lunar Crystallites, the new reaction that she
mentioned,
like Lunar Charged, can be absolutely spammed. And I also found out that COLUMBINA has some neat animation cancel that can make her stronger. The big disclaimer.
Oh my god! Oh my god! He's already providing unique perspective of this one. We can see and compare that to the other creators. See if they are talking about the ICD of Lunar Crystallize or the animation cancel tag for COLUMBINA. But that's already a W for 7th place. We gotta take a look more. Let me pull out a notepad and just note these down as well. And at the end of all these video watching, I'm gonna try to neatly summarize every unique things that each creator has provided us with. So 7th place provide that cancel Bina cancel animation cancel. That's what it should say. And Lunar Crest ICD
is recorded on the creator access server. The
in French or something.
Subject to change.
I am not entirely certain about this accent.
On release to see if there is any. So before looking at all that good stuff, I have to at least explain what this.
Oh my god, this is the new Lunar boss.
She actually has a very straightforward and simple kit in my opinion. The first and maybe most important detail we will discuss is that she activates every single lunar reaction. Electrocharged Bloom and now Crystallites.
That's a nice way to show it.
Even if she's the only character from nod-krai. We
That's
also
a
get
very
the
nice way to show
damage
it.
buff, but cut in half compared to other lunar reaction enablers. This is maxed out at 35,000 HP. Aside from activating these reactions, Columbina can also deal direct reaction damage. Thanks to her skill, she will summon a ring that deals
Thank you.
damage every
7,
2
please.
seconds based on her max HP, and collect gravity points. This basically keeps track of which lunar reaction is being triggered. Getting 20 points over 2 seconds, a reaction happens, and upon reaching 60, so after 6 seconds, she will deal direct lunar damage, based on which contributed the most to her gravity points. Meaning, she can deal Lunar Charged, Lunar Bloom, or Lunar Crystallites direct damage. Lunar Charged and Crystallites are single AoE hits, while Lunar Bloom is 5 different ones, all scaling with her HP, which is massive,
Also 5 AoE
having
hits.
different multipliers. Remember that these undergo the damage formula, meaning that Lunar Charged and Lunar Crystallites are actually about 25% HP. Lunar Bloom, on the other hand, ends up being the smallest at 12.65% over HP. Now, this skill has a 17 seconds of cooldown, but lasts 25 seconds. Together
Nice.
with the reactions, it also deals decent hydro field damage and generates constant hydro particles. Once
Imagine the
direct
character combat
reaction is
animator
triggered,
watching these
she
videos, seeing how people always find some way to
activate
animation cancel that they mad.
Work is a pain in the apps. My files are in this app.
I
Chats in this
don't
app.
think that's... I mean, it could be the case, but I think that people working in this already know. There are a lot of games, a shit ton of games that people optimize to see the animation coming out and ending as fast as possible. Case in point, fighting games. The games where 2 person are controlling 2 characters and fighting each other, like Mortal Kombat, like Street Fighter. Everyone and the mother are looking forward to skip over the beautiful animation to get an advantage. I think it's a standard thing at this point for animators to know that.
Burst instead, we have first off, a
I
two-hit
jump scare.
hit on a 60 energy cost. This is followed up by summoning a lunar domain that is quite huge, easily covering an entire stage and arena.
Hey,
lasts 20
that's the
seconds and
entire
does
arena.
multiple things. It increases lunar reaction damage bonus by 40%. at
She
our
doesn't cover everything! Break character.
10. This is pretty nice, but not the main part. It then has different effects depending on which lunar reaction is triggered. If Lunar Charge is, there is a 33% chance of getting an extra hit. And if Lunar Crystallize is triggered, each Moondrift summoned has a 33% chance of firing off an extra attack. We're coming back to this, no worries. These two
Okay.
are very straightforward, you just get more procs. Lunar Bloom instead is kind of different. Because when you trigger this reaction in your lunar domain, you get up to 3 special Verdandues that can
Oh,
be used
that's
by
how
Never
the
and
special
Now.
Verdandue looks
As we
like.
will see later,
I see.
Columbina as well. And this can
That's a
coexist
neat
with Verdandues,
way to represent
meaning
it.
that we just get 3 extra per rotation by casting the burst. You would think that aside from faster dash cancels, you don't really need more Verdandues in a team like this, but the real point of this change is to enable Lauma to hold her skill. This
Yep.
makes her burst buff 36 lunar blooms instead of 18, meaning Columbina can now use this buff herself, thanks to her elemental skill, making the synergy quite strong and buffing the overall power of this trio. Honestly, this is the entire kit for the most part. As I said, she is actually a simple character, but we left out a pretty interesting and fun
Columbina
part.
indeed!
Columbina can be a non-fielder because her attack talent includes a way to consume Verdandues and deal Lunar Bloom direct damage. And
La
here,
Boo Boo?
we can cover a bit
I mean,
more
Lunar
of
Bloom?
a mechanical aspect of this character. Here's what I tested out. So, Columbina can basically do what Nefer does. You can keep holding
Yeah.
the attack button when Verdandues are present, and each will deal 3 instances of Lunar Bloom, scaling
Nice.
your HP and not consuming any stamina. This can genuinely
Nice.
make for a good on-fielder when paired with Llama and maybe even in some hybrid Lunar team. And on top of that, you can technically dash cancel her charge attack animation. This is not on the same level as Nefer, but you do spend very slightly less time on each, which can decrease your on-field time by anywhere between half a second and a full second to deliver 6 charge attacks. Technically more if you on-field for longer, but I doubt you're doing more than 6-7 of them. And this animation
6,
cancels
7?
do extend to her other talents. First off, the classic skill into burst is extremely quick on Columbina, as her skill can be interrupted very early. It can also be used to cancel the end animation of a charger attack, same with the burst technically. Further testing might spawn some other gimmicks, but for now I can report that dash cancels can be a damage gain, and that you're definitely never ever doing any sort of jump cancels instead. She has a different from
Very well.
usual speed on this jump, being much slower both going up and coming down, which is honestly a very fitting
6, 7
And since we're talking
video,
about
oh
these,
shit!
I also have to report that her sound effects are amazing.
Oh boy, points for aesthetic! Okay!
COLUMBINA is introducing a new reaction.
Can I explain in Hope language? Okay, Razor language. COLUMBINA on field is worse never, but allow for hyper bloom trigger. Never selfish. COLUMBINA worse damage, but let her friends do more damage. That is COLUMBINA on field. Specifically. The mechanics for charge attack are somewhat similar. They can hold charge attack to do 3 instances of Labubu, Lunar Bloom.
Didn't forget, and I found something interesting.
How much worse? If you play a COLUMBINA Hyper Bloom team and you on-field COLUMBINA, that is around 120k DPS. I can bring up my calculation. Some other people have different calculation. I am assuming quite conservative amount of Hyper Bloom triggered. So the damage is lower. Let's wait for this to load. It's quite a big sheet at this point. So takes a bit. When she stays in Power of Friendship, everyone gets her Power of Friendship. Don't worry about that. So this is a Nepo team with a healer or with a shielder. 141, 143. And this is an on-field COLUMBINA team with Hyper Bloom, 136. A tiny bit less. Say around 8% less. Wait, no. Hold on, no. My bad. This is actually with Nocturnals, but I guess that's fine, right? If we sacrifice getting Nefer to get COLUMBINA weapon instead, it's just kind of similar. I think this without her COLUMBINA's weapon, I calculated it at 120 or something. I can turn it back. Hold on. Being a weapon, 136. Okay. And let's fix that with COLUMBINA on field. Raiden Flames, Zabai, Lauma in Yelan Hyper Bloom. There we go. Let's switch this back to say what would be the best for this one. We can use Moon Marrow. We can also use Wood Sip. Sure, Wood Sip it up. We'll sit out 5, sit out 3, whichever. HP 24. Remove that. Remove. When to lose the god, we're gonna get through all of them, don't worry. I'm gonna try to provide my own perspective and whatever I have done with calculating her as well. So make sure you get all the full package experience from all the amazing content creators out there. Lunar reaction damage increased by 60%. 60%. What's that? Did I change that alongside of this? I may have. Yeah, okay. Wait, hold on. What if? What if? What if? What if? What if? Oh boy. Oh, actually, hold on. Wait. No. That's not it. That's not it. I got it wrong. No. 60% crit damage. There we go. That's probably what it is. Okay, so if we give her with sip instead, our 3 HP will be reduced from no longer having a signature weapon, and this will also be reduced from no longer having signature weapon. 20% from Llama, and we no longer have this 60% crit damage increase. All good. All the boo boo. No more energy. Energy recharge. Let me go. Chat. Energy recharge for this. What's the best 4-star weapon that we can use for COLUMBINA for this situation? So an option is that we can use with Sith, but like the energy refund from Prototype Amber. The other option is that we can use Prototype Amber, or we can use Fab, but I don't think that's gonna work out very favorably when she is the on-field character and the majority of the team's damage. So the best option, I think, is going to be with it. Let me check the energy on the situation on this. COLUMBINA. Yelan funneling to COLUMBINA one time with Favonius. Press one time. There is going to be an Inefa. There is going to be a Llama. Pressing one time. She should be holding, but that doesn't really matter for the difference that much. So this character is going to be on field for that amount of time. This character is on field for that amount of time. This other character is on field for that amount of time. Very good. 155 ER. We can honestly burst every rotation, but I think this is okay. 18 second, 18 energy. Let's go with that. 155. There we go. We got that exactly. Crit rate. We're gonna need a few more. That's fine. Crit damage will be reduced. Good. And with Sid is going to give her a few attack, which doesn't matter. A few elemental damage. I'm gonna lock that in as 72 divided by 6. That's 12 elemental damage. Crossing all the average of Whipsif, and 360 divided by 6, that's 60 elemental mastery after everything is averaged out. And this team is doing 116. That is the result that I have. If we swap Whipsif to Prototype Amber instead, Prototype Amber 110, then we will have none of the Wisif buff and at 120 instead. This seems to be a much favorable result than using, hold on. Prototype Amber, R5. All right, 116. It's very similar. 112, 116. I think this is slightly better and more comfortable to play. This is the result if you use a 4-star weapon and a cop 4-star weapon for Columbina. But as we see, if you don't want Nefer, you can spend the amount of pulls that you could get Nefer to get Columbina's weapon and be at a similar damage point to a Nefer team. So 143 or 141 for Nefer, Lauma, Columbina, or you can go with Lauma, Columbina, and instead of getting Nefer, get the Columbina weapon, you be at 136. Tomato, tomato. There we go. We have the result. Hexerite show is about to be OP. We're gonna see. I expect Hexerite characters to be as good, if they are better than the Lunar teams, then the balance of the game is a little bit cooked. We'll see what they're gonna do. Tomato, tomato.
Here as well. Lunar Crystallites is only happening when Geo and Hydro react with each other. Even in a team that includes Columbina, a different element, together with Geo, will only result in a classic.
I tried to be thorough with my calculations.
Lunar counterpart. On the first trigger, 3 moon drifts are created around the target. And triggering the reaction 3 times will make.
Wait, the first trigger? Hold on. That's new information to me.
Trigger only result in a classic Crystallites and not its lunar counterpart. On the first trigger, 3 moon drifts are created around
more damage
the target.
Nah, it's fine.
And triggering the reaction 3 times.
I thought it has to be triggered 3 times for the 3 things to be there.
Will make each
Hello, Pila buddy.
Closest target. This is actually pretty cool because these moon drifts count as Geo constructs, meaning they can synergize with Chiori on her second doll, or Zhongli to contribute to his resonance damage coming from the pillar. And since they don't count towards the limit of 3 Geo constructs, this might actually create interesting teams for the Geo Archon. I wonder if this is in preparation for a Zhongli buff in the future. But
Zhongli buff?
The damage of this reaction is very similar to charged, both in how it's calculated and how crit, elemental mastery, and multiple characters participating in the reaction are accounted for. There is a small difference with a multiplier, but they basically end up doing similar damage, just spread differently with multiple hits. The Geo Resonance is also partially updated to activate when moon drifts are nearby. This is the basic stuff. The way this reaction triggers is...
You learned this yesterday from Daddy Joseph?
Technically, it's once every 3 lunar crystallizes that you get a damage proc. Crystallize, however...
Wait, hold on.
Reaction triggers is actually a bit weird. Technically, it's once every 3 lunar crystallizes that you get a damage proc. Crystallize, however, has a global internal cooldown of 1 second. So we should wait 3 or more seconds per trigger, but if we go ahead and spam as many Geo attacks as possible, we do in fact have it happen more often. Once every 2 seconds, and even once per second sometimes. So I had to dig a bit deeper here. And what really surprised me was testing Lunar Charged. You see, the global Crystallites cooldown makes it so that no matter what you do, you get 1 Crystallites per second. At most.
Yeah.
If I have both Hydro and Electro on the enemy, and I use Shield and skill plus normal attack, I get an Electro Crystallites from the skill, and the normal attack doesn't do anything. Zhongli Burst applies a ton of Geo. Reacting with Electro and Hydro should give me 2 Crystallized shards, but again, only 1 because of this global cooldown the reaction has.
Fair enough.
But let's go ahead and try these scenarios with Lunar Crystallites. Well, Shilon and skill by itself is able to react with both Electro for Crystallites and Hydro for a Lunar Crystal.
Oh! They fixed it! They fixed it! That basically what he said. Before, even when we have different characters, we can only trigger Crystallize once per second, and that's global for everyone in the entire team. They fixed that!
The normal attack right after instead doesn't seem to trigger another.
Well, it's less so they fix it, but I guess it was intentional before. I have no idea, but anyway, it is different now.
Reaction. But if I wait a second, it does. Zhongli Burst.
Hold on. Say that again. Say that again. Say that again.
The normal attack right after instead doesn't seem to trigger another reaction. But if I wait a second, it does. Zhongli Burst also triggers both the Electro and Lunar version of the reaction with the same cast. The conclusion here is that there is something going on with this reaction. Some sort of cooldown that is however not the normal global cooldown Crystallites has. If I apply 1 unit of Hydro and I use both Shilon and Skill and Normal without waiting, I erase the entire aura. Meaning that even if the text doesn't pop up, I'm still triggering a reaction. There is no way we end up playing an unveiling set on EM crit Ningguang with this.
Hey! Ningguang Mansion!
Right?
Ningguang Mansion!
Or my conclusion is wrong and it's bugged. That's a possibility, although it kinda makes sense. Lunar Crystallize is simply working like most other reactions and has
Blood's providing unique perspective to me. I am pulling up. Blood's pulling up with this one. Alright, I'm almost typing blood chat. Unique perspective. Ningguang Mansion! Alright, actually. It's actually the Lunar Crystallize. Let me put it in here.
nothing to do with Crystallites. Something to keep in mind before sub-I releases. Moving on, I want to briefly talk about builds option for Columbina. Keep in mind that I have a full guide planned on our release day.
You're gonna go over there, Guang!
Of the character here. So, first off, the talent priority is...
You just give all of Nefer's artifact to Ning Huang, actually. And the weapon.
Skill into burst. Then of course the attack talent can be leveled up, but only when used as a non-fielder in Lunar Bloom teams. Because everything is scaling off.
Oh my god, chat, I'm getting crystallized!
HP, that means our defects will focus on energy recharge, HP and crit. Elemental Mastery can be used, but it's generally the least important stat. Most Lunar teams will require her burst, so energy recharge needs range from none up to 200 plus, with 150-200 being a safe baseline. Lower with strong hydroparticle generation or Favonius. This highly depends on the team. HP has a soft cap at 35,000, after which no extra lunar base multiplier. And as per usual, you never have enough crit, but remember that she ascends with crit rate, and 15% more are from a talent.
Alright.
And as far as artifact sets, she has...
Oh my god, I'm crystallizing!
The EM set boosts lunar reaction damage by
Oh.
up to 60%
Oh my
when
God.
filled with 2 lunar characters. With this set and Silken Moon, 4-piece bonuses can effectively apply team-wide. So ideally, the stronger off-field damage dealer uses the new set, and the other uses Silken. Commonly in EFA on the new set and Columbina on Silken.
Oh, this amount of exclamation mark triggers me.
Substats and resin efficiency matter more, especially early on, so don't fall for the quote-unquote ideal trap. With Llama instead, stacking elemental
Wait, hold on.
on Silken. But substats and resin efficiency matter more, especially early on, so don't fall for the quote-unquote ideal trap. With
Okay.
Llama instead, stacking Elemental Mastery can also be viable due to her burst now buffing so much of the team's damage. Columbina
Right.
can also use Unveiling when on field, or Deepwood Tenacity and similar sets in niche setups. Weapons focus on crit, HP and energy recharge. Her signature weapon does exactly all of those, but honestly, as an HP scaler, you will not struggle at finding good alternatives among 4-star weapons. Favonius and Prototype Ember are very strong and also support the team. Especially with Favonius, I actually had Flint's runs where I was better off going Fav than Signature just for the extra energy to the team. Briefly looking at team compositions instead, of course Nefer and Flint are getting a big upgrade from Columbina, and they were already strong to begin with. You now have reliable hydro application, good off-field damage and buffs. However, I want to put the focus on the fact that Inefa and Llama are maybe winning more with Columbina than their carries. They're actually doing so much that teams where you just go Inefa or Llama, or heck, even both, will work very fine and still be able to clear most content. As you can see, the Fireblade Shock Trooper is rerunning, and this team...
Chat, I agree. Llama is a better character than Nefer, and Inefa is the better character than Flames. They both can use very flexibly with Columbina in many different teams, while Nefer and Flames can only be played in their respective teams.
can clear Fearless in about a minute, which means they possibly can clear Dire, but of course, this is a very favorable matchup. Anyway, I'm very
Absolutely,
excited for this
indeed.
patch. It's going to be absolutely massive, but is there anything else you want to know about Columbina ahead of a release? Let me know in the comment section. Thank you so much
that's
for
the video.
watching, and see you next time.
That's been a pleasant watch. Alright, let's summarize. So for 7th place video, Bina animation cancel, that was the useful and helpful information. Lunar crystallized ICD, that testing has been absolute fire. The way that he tested it with Siluran skill and normal attack, I would never have been able to think of that myself. So absolutely points to him. And a tiny bit about aesthetic with the sound effect from COLUMBINA charge attack. Cool, that's a nice video. Thank you, 7 players. Alright, next one. This is Gacha Gamer. You Luna Bloom! Oh. Columbina come for such the skunk! Okay. That's a weird reason to put Columbina, but you do you!
I got early access to Columbina, and
I Gacha Gamer!
like ridiculous.
Gacha Gamer is a content creator that actually dives surprisingly deep into the weapon and, well, the calculations for the character and theory crafting as well. I have previously been seeing this guy as a more casual content creator because he does quite a few games, I believe. Let me double check. He does quite a few games, right?
So,
yeah, absolutely. This is doing the Abyss. And yep, there is Woo-Wah stuff. How does this guy keeping up with the big brain for every single game? Gotta give him respect. Myself, I play one single game, and keeping up with all the knowledge from that game, Genshin, has already been a difficult task. God damn. Alright, let's see what perspective he's bringing this time.
ridiculous. And I'm not just talking about her gravity-defying walk. But the thing is, this moon goddess heavily...
Redeem code he have in description, does he? This one? Let me double check. Has that already been in my announcement channel? Oh, maybe that's new. Alright, let me double check. If this is a new code, I'm gonna send that to announcement channel. Message account redeem now. Code redemption is already in use, so it is already shared. Probably I can send it too. I think it may have been a code that is sharing the functionality with a different code. Take a moment to close a few tabs.
Depends on having other nod-krai characters in the team in order to reach some of the best damage in the game, especially when it comes to some supports like Inefa, where both of them can basically lift any unit out of the gutters of the meta. Yeah, even Mizuki now is good at floating around while enemies get demolished on sight. However, in some special cases, like this Navia comp, she's capable enough just by herself to unlock new potential with the latest lunar crystallized reaction. On the other hand, sometimes she relies a little too much on having someone like Llama on the team if you want to achieve proper main DPS output with her new lunar bloom attacks. Long story short, Columbina
basically if you don't have Llama, don't play Columbina on field DPS specifically. You can still play her off field DPS, but Llama is the character that unlocks her on field potential.
Complicated, but in this Constellation Zero showcase
oh
video,
my god, that is such a that's a nice framing. All right,
I'm gonna reveal everything
just the editor, video editor in me screaming. Don't worry,
need to know about this master of lunar reactions, including many team comps and loadouts I've tested, so that you can decide for yourself if she's worth
Mizuki buff before John Lee. I mean,
alright, to start things
Columbina also works with John Lee.
Off, for the most part of the video, I'll be showcasing Columbina with Prototype Amber, which is her best free-to-play craftable weapon, while at the same time, she will be using Serenade Artifact set that has HP, and crit rate main stats. However, she's got like 4 viable sets in total, which I would... showcase in this video, and I will make comparisons to the new update of Morningstar and Moon set as well. Finally, her talents are raised to level 10, and she is, of course, at Constellation 0. Oh, and yeah, I am on Creator Experience server, so content shown here is subject to change. Anyway, the most important thing that I'd like to first mention would be that COLUMBINA enables all of the lunar reactions thanks to her third passive.
Alright, this part we have already heard the explanation once, so I'm gonna speed this up a little, just in case there's any new perspective.
Meaning, anyone on the team who caused electric charge turns it into lunar charge, blooms become lunar blooms, and hydrocrystallize becomes lunar crystallize. On top of that, this passive gives a small boost to lunar reaction.
Nodding faster will make me absorb the information
Based on COLUMBINA's max HP by up to 7%, or basically when she has 35,000 HP, which will be very easy to reach. Now, for the first two reactions, I am assuming you already know how they work, so let's quickly go through lunar crystallize. Basically, when the enemy has hydro aura on them, first time Geo is applied, lunar crystallize is caused, and 3 of these moon drift constructs appear, and then every third lunar crystallize reaction, 1 shot from each moon drift is fired off, so 3 total. In other words, it's like you build up the lunar crystallize in advance, which won't do anything 3 times, and then 3 actual shots are fired off every third reaction. Here are some details you can quickly look at. It's honestly similar to
every 2 seconds, happen every third lunar crystallize, contribute all to apply hydrogel, electro, scale EM. Yep, thank you.
How lunar charge works. So like anyone who contributes to this reaction, their stats are taken into account to calculate final damage. But the most interesting thing about this new reaction is that there's no limit like 2-second intervals lunar charge has. And the speed and quantity of these shots basically just depend on how often the lunar crystallize reactions cost. I mean, look, right now without Zibai, this new reaction is decent, and for example, a team of Navia, Farina, and Shilonen can fire off those shots for around 20k damage each. And this is with COLUMBINA's loadout shown below, because she will be the main contributor to this reaction's damage. Don't worry about the 80k lunar crystallizes popping up, I'll soon explain how that works in a moment. All in all, this new reaction is pretty good, but it will become really powerful once its Zibai is released, although that will be revealed in my video when we get closer to the second phase of Luna 4 update. Now, let me quickly show you how the skill works. When tapped, it deals a bit of initial damage, and for 25 seconds, this moon called Gravity Ripple appears behind the active character, and every 2 seconds, nearby enemies get damaged. Without aesthetically, the range is really small, like you almost have to hug the enemy as if you would be playing Barbara on the team. But I probably don't have to tell you this, in 99% of the teams, you will always want to have a Ascendant Gleam active, since otherwise you'd miss out on strong nod-krai artifact set buffs, and in this case, you'd also have a crappy AoE with the skill. But here's why the skill really matters, and I'll keep it very simple. This whole wall of text states that while the skill is active, whenever anyone causes a lunar reaction, the moon gains 20 points every 2 seconds. And when 60 points are achieved, COLUMBINA's skill fires off one of the 3 lunar reactions, depending on which one was caused the most. Or in a nutshell, every 6 seconds, COLUMBINA unleashes a lunar attack, provided the team manages to cause a lunar reaction every 2 seconds at least. Which
Yeah.
In this lunar charge team, we can see after 6 seconds, COLUMBINA delivers a massive 103,000 lunar charge hit. In Lunar Bloom comp, the skill fires off 5 shots of lunar bloom damage, each causing roughly 32,000 damage, or around 160k damage total. And in lunar crystallize, that big 80k hit also comes from the skill. You can see the multiplier shown here, and as a reminder, the formula works different for lunar damage, so each of these numbers are further multiplied, and that's why they all hit so hard. Also, don't forget these lunar attacks do not scale with damage percent, only with COLUMBINA's HP, EM, and crit stats. Oh, and yeah, her first passive grants her 5% critical rate whenever she causes lunar damage with the skill, up to 3 times with a 10-second duration, which gets refreshed after every. Alright, now comes the burst. COLUMBINA opens her beautiful eyes and deals AoE damage once, while at the same time, she
beautiful eyes! Oh my god. Alright, so
as long as the team within this domain, everyone's lunar damage is increased by 40% at level 10, which translates to
Samsaras and shit.
This is where the second passive talent also kicks in. Every lunar reaction gains unique benefits thanks to lunar domain, and so lunar reaction now grants Moonridge Dews, which appears simply. This mostly matters right now if you have Laoma on the team, because it's really powerful, and that becomes less of an issue. But I'm still working out the calcs, and I'd say this is how much ER she needs right now, especially when considering Stygian Onslaught. However, the ER needs will vary from team to team.
Oh, I got too fast! I went too fast! Wait, what is this?
Still, there's one last thing I want to mention. COLUMBINA's normal attacks. You see, her normals just do damage. Nothing special. They are beautiful, but deal negligible damage. However, her charge attack has a special property. If the team has any verdant dews, including the Moonridge dews, just like Nefer, COLUMBINA's charge attack will consume 1 dew and deliver 3 lunar bloom hits. The damage is pretty good, even with Black Marrow Lantern free-to-play weapon. Roughly 45k damage from each hit, so 135k total per charge attack. But keep in mind, this is with Laoma on the team, who provides significant boosting for lunar bloom damage. Like, I'm talking about a serious drop-off if Laoma is not on the team. So keep that in mind if you're thinking of playing COLUMBINA as a carry. But speaking of which, here are some damage results I've recorded. With the Serenade set and by using her skill and burst with a fully buffed team, just by herself, she can help enable around 37k hits from the Thundercloud, and her own skill hits for around 103k lunar charge damage. With her signature, this damage goes up to 150k per hit, hence something like Nidalette's signature helps her reach 124k damage per hit. Interestingly enough, if I give her the new Morningstar set, her lunar charge damage while she's using Prototype Amber, it actually shoots up and can go even higher with another Serenade user instead. So if anyone else on the team can use the Serenade set, I definitely recommend just giving COLUMBINA the new set instead. Also, here's Black Marrow versus signature comparison by using her as a main DPS. Her lunar bloom damage coming both from the charge attack and the skill ends up about 30% to 35% bigger with the signature. So safe to say, her free-to-play options are really great. Her signature gives a big bump to her personal damage, but in the current meta, I still believe her free-to-play weapons like Prototype Amber when playing as a support and Black Marrow as a main DPS are actually really good. It's just that the signature provides a lot of value. On top of that, it can also help her restore 14 energy every rotation or so. So that helps a lot with reducing her ER needs. Overall, COLUMBINA is a really simple to play unit. Just press skill and burst and swap the rest of the teammates to enable all sorts of lunar reactions, and as a main DPS, just spam her
very
charge
well.
attack. COLUMBINA is a powerful upgrade for lunar.
Okay, this is the new section. Chat. Let's go back to human speed. Alright, you know what? 1.5. It's fine.
Charge teams. Like, I am talking about significant changes.
What do you need to do to get through to me? Oh my god!
Here. Previously, Flynn's, Inefa, Aino, and Sucrose was the best team variation, but now,
It's way too bright casting it. Wait, have your hot take on Bina? Don't like her burst animation. It's way too bright casting it, especially the time you're playing around midnight. It's going to be annoying. Get flashback. Oh my god. I'm about to burst that. Oh my god. 20 seconds. I'm about to burst. Oh my god.
Aino gets replaced with Bina, and you can see for yourself without even using Flynn's, already so much damage is caused together with Inefa when we look at lunar charge damage. And for example, in this team, I would say Innefa is better off with the new set, while Columbina uses Serenade set, and then obviously Sky set would be given to Flins, and Vivi set for Sucrose. However, when I looked at it closer, it's pretty clear that the core of Columbina and Innefa, or as some are calling it Binefa, this duo has insane power level. For example, the last two slots become super flexible. Like, I could go for Auroran and Mizuki and just do this simple rotation where in the end, Mizuki is just floating around contributing some of the damage, but the big hitters, of course being Binefa, are the ones dealing the majority of damage. Interestingly enough, I could also give both of them the new artifact set, which improves their lunar damage as long as they're off-field, and then I can give Serenade set.
It's not really Mizuki, chat. Mizuki just be there and be pretty. Oh, but it's usable. It's usable.
That to Raiden, for example. And she can act as a driver for the team. Yeah, I know, this might sound depressive when you think about it. Raiden Shogun acting as a glorified driver here, but hey, she's still used.
When you really think about it, Raiden has always been a driver, so it's fine. There's no shame in that. Like, Xiangling exists. Xiangling exists. Have been existing for a long time. It's okay. It's okay. I am a Raiden user. I am a Raiden haver. She's a driver, chat.
Usually contributes to around 10% of team's damage, and helps maintain Serenade buff. It's not much, but it's honest work. Or how about Hu Tao? Again, an old but beloved character, and now she actually feels quite refreshing with this duo in a team like this. Same goes for Arlecchino. Not like she was having that many problems before, but again, the overvapes plus all those lunar charge hits feel super satisfying to pull off. Like, the thing is, in my upcoming Columbina's guide, I'll talk about a lot more of the teams you can essentially wheelchair with this duo, as the theory crafters call it. But at the end of the day, Innefa and Columbina, just by themselves, is now basically one of the strongest archetypes in the game. And you can just throw in any two other characters, provided they don't mess up the lunar charge reactions, and they will function really well. Like, not at the same level as Flins or Nefer with Columbina, but you can just use any unit, and usually achieving the 100k DPS won't be a problem. Obviously, like 80 to 90% of the damage will be caused by the lunar girls, but hey, at least now someone like Ayato can be unbenched. What's not to love about that? But moving over to Lunar Bloom comps, if playing with Lauma and Nefer, you won't notice a major damage improvement for Nefer, but that's okay because Columbina's Bursts passive now allows Lauma to easily use her hold skill, which means Lauma can deal good damage with her skill, and she will also provide enough him stacks that the whole team can utilize, since remember, Columbina's skill will fire off 5 of those Lunar Bloom shots, basically every 6 seconds, and they will consume Lauma stacks to deal much better damage. As for the last slot, it could be Cookie for healing mostly, or it could be Nefa for even higher damage plus shielding, or it could be Sucrose or Nahida for extra EM boosting.
This guy is winning some of the Razor language points for me. I think it's mostly since 7th place video is more geared toward the sweaty try harder, so he is going more into the nitty-gritty of the niche game mechanics. And Gacha Gamer is providing value with his videos by explaining things very simply as well. He's quite thorough with his explanation too.
Columbina's main contributions here are to help with dew generation, boost Lunar Bloom damage with burst, and provide her own personal damage, which is quite good. Usually with a free-to-play build, she still ends up contributing at least 500,000 damage, which is nothing to scoff at. And overall, this leads to about 20% team's DPS increase, which is quite significant. However, if you only could choose one for Nefer, then it would definitely be Lauma first, because her buffing is a lot more significant than Columbina's. That's pretty much an undeniable fact, unless I miss out on something, but Nefer really wants Lauma in order to achieve her true potential, while Columbina for Lauma and Nefer acts more like a strong upgrade over someone like Aino. Now, moving over to just strictly Lauma and Columbina duo, this is where playing Bina as main DPS is recommended because her own Lunar Bloom damage from the charge attacks is quite strong, and then the skill also unleashes additional 5 hits every 6 seconds.
Man, chat, I keep hearing Labubu when I listen to Lunar Bloom.
It's not on the same level, and I think Hoyo intended for this to be the case, since it would be pretty weird if Bina at C0 could outperform C0 Nefer as a main DPS. But for like 99% of the content, main DPS Lunar Bloom Columbina is a very powerful variation you can go for, especially if you also have Nefa who brings her own personal damage into the team. And actually, this comp of C6 Aino, Nefa, Lauma, and Columbina is quite ridiculous, and I've had a lot of fun using it. But keep in mind, it is so easy to overcap critical rate because Columbina's starting critical rate is at 24.2% after Final Ascension, then 15% more from the passive, then 30% from Sky set, and then even Lauma gives 10% crit rate for Lunar Blooms. So she can already reach nearly 80% critical rate without any of the artifact stats, which is pretty crazy. And focusing on HP percent and critical damage is like the biggest priority while grabbing a few crit rate rolls along the way. However, you can also create some other interesting team comps with Lauma and Columbina.
Oh, okay. What is this team?
For example, with Durin, you can go for a Burgeon comp that will work pretty well, except you'll need some sustain like healing or shielding. Or this team of Neuvillette is super satisfying to play, and I even found that quick swapping to Columbina and unleashing some of her charge attacks can be a fun way to break out of the monotony.
Give me 30 seconds and I'll make you learn AI. Watch this. Let's be real. Most people over 40 use...
Still, I've been babbling about all these team comps assuming there's either Nefa or Lauma on the team. What about teams without them? Well, that's the thing.
Skunk mansion!
Columbina shines best in nod-krai comps, especially with one of those two supports. Don't get me wrong though,
this is one of the unique perspectives that he's providing. That's cool.
Yehoda. Although in Nefer's case, Lauma is a better choice. However, Columbina still brings enough value as a temporary solution if you still plan to get Lauma later. Outside of nod-krai comps, I mean, you could utilize Columbina with Tenacity set and Thrilling Tales to boost Skirk's damage, provided Escoffier is also on the team, but like, almost the entire kit will be useless. She will be just dealing some hydro damage and provide buffs from her gear. so nothing too crazy. The silver lining right now would be lunar crystallized teams. Without Zibai, a comp of Navia with supports like Farina and Shilonen can be decent enough, and I am talking about endgame content, which is pretty cool how you can also swap out Navia for Ito, which will feel a little weaker, but hey, it's Ito. You can now mess around with him in a new team archetype. Lastly, you might have noticed I haven't talked about any of the free-to-play variations with COLUMBINA. Well, the truth is, you could go for something like Aoife, Xingqiu Official, or go for another moon sign unit like Aino and or Yehoda, who can boost lunar damage and enable Ascend and Gleam. As you already saw, it's best to treat COLUMBINA with free-to-play comps the same way as Innefa when she was released back in the day. Except Bina's main purpose is to super power up existing lunar teams, while the rest of the team variations outside of lunar comps can work in a decent way, but it won't be as amazing. At least that's how I felt when testing all of these variations. So what do I think about COLUMBINA? I think that it's
Dragon Mansion
point is to power up existing nod-krai teams, and to achieve the highest possible potential, she will rely on other supports such as Innefa or Lauma. That's the reality. She's not really flexible in terms of good damage outside of lunar comps, but on the other hand, with only a small roster of all the lunar damage focused units, there are a ton of variations where you can start mixing and matching stuff. So I would say as long as you have a couple of nod-krai units, mainly one of the 5 stars, she's going to feel amazing. Like seriously, she's a walking nuke bomb on the overworld enemies. Anyway, I'd appreciate if you hit the like button on this video and subscribe to my channel because I will be posting a lot more Luna 4 content, including my ultimate COLUMBINA's guide, where I will go into all the details on how to build all of these teams and which weapon and artifact set is the best one to use for her. Thanks for watching, and I'll see you very soon.
Yep. Gaza Gamer, this video is more geared towards the people who seeks to understand COLUMBINA fully, her combat kit and the teams that she's good in, whether she's good in the many teams or not. I think this video has absolutely achieved that. The Skirk thing is actually barely touched upon. Sure, we're gonna just have this. Like, I would appreciate it if he mentions a little bit more about Skirk's damage. From my own calculation, COLUMBINA in the Skirk team is okay. It's nothing special, but it's an alternative option you can use. I don't recommend pulling COLUMBINA for Skirk though. But if you have nothing else, you could do that. Now you don't have to use Aino burst over and over again. Now you have to use COLUMBINA burst over and over again. Oh! Oh!
Hey guys,
how's that, 80s? Alright, let's take a look at the Iwintelos. Where's Iwintelos? Where's the body? Is this the guy? Yep. Hello. The agony.
Hello and welcome to my channel, Iwintelos Gaming. July 16th,
How does Bina buff Skirk? By providing her middling personal damage without Luna, holding Tenacity artifact, provide Hydro from outfield, and Tearing Tales of Dragon Slayer.
1969. One small step for man, one giant leap for how freaking broken lunar reactions are now. In today's video, giant leap for how freaking...
This number is misleading. This is a little bit clickbaity. This is the real damage number, and this is the damage number of a boss when the shield is broken. So the boss takes extra damage. Okay, that's fine. He's still the golden.
Broken lunar reactions are now. In today's video, we'll see just how eye-opening COLUMBINA is at Constellation 0 with various builds and weapons and on over 20...
Oh! 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 It's over 9,000 pun damage!
Different teams.
It's not about the flashback, it's about the pun.
If you get nervous with too much eye contact, and if you like new gameplay mechanics, then this character is manufactured for you. COLUMBINA is a
I've braced myself. All right, let's go back.
Hello and welcome to my step. In today's tick image buff, Power Fear is manufactured for you. COLUMBINA is a lunar tick lead, powerful off-field lunar sub-DPS character who provides some modest damage buffs and also provides consistent hydro application to enable lunar reactions. COLUMBINA works fantastically with all three of the main lunar playstyles with Lunar Charged, Lunar Bloom, and the all-new reaction Lunar Crystallized. My Columreds, welcome! And we have COLUMBINA here to show you guys, and there are a lot of really cool details about her that you guys have to check out. And trust me, they're highly interesting topics such as walking. COLUMBINA can indeed walk, sort of. Actually, she kind of does this like a low gravity floaty thing. But, oh, hang on. We see some pigeons here. This is very important.
Why?
COLUMBINA walking has a very floaty feel when you use her. It has something to do with the moon, so the moon has lower gravity. So that's why her walking, running, and sprinting animation have this floaty feel. And I'm really curious to see, can she actually run on water? Given that, you know, she's kind of like a second Hydro Archon now, and she does this floaty walk. You'd think she'd be able to walk on water, but let's see.
Albion Online is a sandbox MMORPG in which you write your own story.
Very. There we go.
And a really neat thing about COLUMBINA's walk and run is that it has a very satisfying little sound effect. COLUMBINA's unique running animation begs the question, is she actually faster?
Iniquitous lesser gravity, a goat long leg privilege.
Well, she's just a smidge slower than our long-legged man characters, and notably faster than similarly sized medium female characters. Overall, she actually has a great dash for the overworld.
I am in pain.
So let's actually move on to jumping, and I promise this is also pretty interesting. So normally when characters jump and land from a certain height, they can do this roll animation like this. To break their fall, I suppose. And COLUMBINA actually does have a custom animation for that too. Whee! She does this little twirl instead, so we can watch it from another angle. And I will say that her dash jump isn't particularly good, but here we go. There we go. And one last detail about COLUMBINA is that I looked all over and I cannot see a hydro vision anywhere on her character model. But you could say that she has no vision. So first things first, you might be wondering, what can I pre-farm for COLUMBINA? These are her materials, obviously the hydro gems or whatever, and then we have the Radiant Antler, which is something that you can indeed pre-farm. Hydro vision anywhere on her character model, but you could say that she has no vision.
I see.
For COLUMBINA, these are her materials, obviously the hydro gems or whatever, and then we have the Radiant Antler, which is something that you can indeed pre-farm prior to her release. And this thing appears to be a new resource in the new area. As we can see, it is within this new area over here. And fortunately, she only needs slime concentrate as her monster ascension material. I guess she must be really slimy or something. And these are her talent materials, which do use the new weekly boss's monster bits. And if you're going to go for her signature weapon, this is what it needs. It needs this weapon material along with this new Fractured Eye of the Deep Shadow material, which drops from Fissures of Hidden Depths. So I suppose we're just going to go beat up fishermen now. These Fissure of the Hidden Depths are new enemies.
Wait, you have to actually... They don't give you materials? What? Oh my god. That sounds like a lot of work.
So I suppose we're just going to
integrate the server.
Beat up fishermen. Tattered Warrants from the new around damage, as well as some other stats like energy recharge right here. She's using the prototype damage as well as some other stats like a deal with some of the attack set, which include, I'm saying that Parson. No.
Okay. Okay.
Let's finally take a look at Columbina in Columbat. So here we go. We're going to start off with her.
If I hear the punch twice as fast, it's gonna be twice less painful, right?
Attacks against our Regis Vine volunteer. So it's gonna knock it down and insane, incredible damage with her basic attacks. I mean, yeah, I don't think anyone's surprised here. Her charged attack, as you can see, has a fantastic animation, but all of these attacks scale off of her attack stat, which, well, let's be honest, these do negligible damage. You know what actually is not negligible? You guys liking the video, hyping the video, and commenting down in the comments below. Because seriously, I don't usually ask this in most of my videos because it is a bit annoying, but lately YouTube has really been valuing this type of engagement. So yeah, if you do have the availability to do some of this stuff, I'd really post my videos. You guys liking the video, hyping the video, and commenting down in the comments below. Because seriously,
I wonder if someone else has already made this comment.
seriously, I don't usually ask this in most of my videos because it is a bit annoying, but lately YouTube has really been valuing this type of engagement. So yeah, if you do have the availability to do some of this stuff, I'd really appreciate it. Thank you. Columbina does actually have a second charge attack to talk about though, which does scale off her max HP. And in order to use that, we're gonna need some Verdant Dews, which, as a reminder, is just when you trigger Lunar Bloom, you'll fill up your Verdant Dews like this. So we're gonna grab a few Verdant Dews really quick before we knock down our Regis Vine friend. So there we go. Should be enough Verdant Dews for demonstration purposes. I'm gonna knock it down, and here we go. So now when you use Columbina's charge attacks with Verdant Dews, she'll consume those Verdant Dews. Enough Verdant Dews to attack this type of These do comments below damage. Seriously, I actually is not
hold on.
Liking the video, hyping the video.
Hold on. Real quick.
And
moving on.
But it does do multiple hits.
Actually useful information.
Certain fuzzy animal. Up next we have Columbina's
Duolingo is a good way to learn a new language. I think it's nice. It's if it's not a entirely foolproof way, but it's a nice way to learn.
Walling up gravity. A single lunar once it's full, Columbina will launch a gravity interference attack with the corresponding lunar reaction type that filled it up the most.
Hold on.
Okay, it's actually called a gravity ripple, but I had to look it up. Triggering lunar reactions will fill up this moon thingamajigger's gravity. To put it simply, you basically will want to trigger lunar reactions consistently to fill it up. Once it's full, Columbina will launch a gravity interference attack.
Anvil, thank you for such an useful and insightful comments and provide a lot of insightful and usefulness.
Pretty solid damage. And the gravity interference attack was...
I've been pondering about the usefulness of the comment so far, but that comment has really sold me on how useful it is.
Reaction was able to single cycle our poor Regis Vine friend, even with this energy recharge plus prototype amber build, while Columbina is off field as well. Lunar Bloom's gravity interference unfortunately does a lot less overall damage, despite there being 5 separate hits. Multi-hit nature of this will Columbo really well with Llama's burst. Double gravity interference attacks do which also does some very solid damage, similar to
thank you, Wizard, for chiming in with a very insightful and helpful comment as well.
Like Columbina, when Hydro can find
alright, we do all this.
Highest contributing card, where everyone who contributes to the reaction also contributes to the damage. With the character who deals the highest damage contributing to the reactions, Lunar explains the attack.
He got the Razor award. Well, not the award, but he's a Razor language contender.
More radius on her skill with Ascendant Gleam. This radius can definitely be felt, and without Ascendant Gleam, her skill's radius is honestly really small, and pretty much only melee characters can take advantage of it. But yeah, this surprised me seeing that this is the only thing in her kit directly affected by Ascendant Gleam. And radius on her skill with Ascendant Gleam. This radius can definitely be felt, and without Ascendant Gleam, her skill's radius is honestly really small.
Well, I cannot see the difference.
This radius can definitely be felt.
Why is it very similar?
And without
it is very similar.
Her skill's radius is honestly really small, and pretty much only melee characters can take advantage of it. But yeah, this surprised me seeing that this is the only thing in her kit directly affected by Ascendant Gleam. Up next, we have Columbina's Elemental Burst. Before I talk about
Thank you, Wizard.
I personally think this is the third thing Columbina has power crept. First, animation. By bringing the three moons closer, and with their additional gravitational field, raising tides, and other moon-related activities, it makes incredible thematic sense for Columbina's kit to be centered around gravity. Anyway, enough blazing her burst animation. Her burst deals a single instance of damage, scaling off her HP, and this is actually a pretty decent multiplier. And interestingly, it also applies 2 gauges of hydro. Her burst also creates a massive lunar domain. When you're in this massive lunar domain, the entire party gets plus 40% lunar damage bonus. This buff is particularly nice as it affects the entire party. Her burst costs 60 energy, lasts 20 seconds. Crystallize has more lunar compared.
Thank you.
Every 100 seconds. The moon goddess, because what means she provides up to ever god. But do nod-krai. Fortunately, Constellation 6 Barber isn't power crept outside of nod-krai. Thank the moon goddess, because what would we do if Barber ever got power crept? Oh, and Columbina can communicate to animals or something. In total, Columbina provides a lot to her teams. She provides up to 7% to all lunar reaction space multipliers. She provides up to 40% lunar reaction damage through her elemental burst. She provides fertilize. Equally as important, she applies radial hydro application once every other second, that also for lunar level impact to become a witch. Whether completely as an off-field support or as an on-field lunar bloom DPS is quite simple.
Hey, Razor! Thank you, Razor, Professor Razor.
A bit with a dash, and here I was able to save around half a second in 3 charge attacks. Perhaps with more practice, this can be a bit more worth it to perform, and more time can be saved. Okay, we can finally take a look at her full kit in action.
That is animation cancel stuff. That's nice.
First reaction is actually doing quite a lot of damage here, with the double activation triggering once, along with Columbina's gravity interference attack doing over 60k damage, taking out our Registering friend. Up next, we have Lunar Bloom, and as you can probably expect without, for example, Llama's, especially Llama's elemental burst, Lunar Bloom is definitely a bit lacking.
Do not cry.
Comparison to the 60,000 damage from Lunar Charge.
I specifically do 2x speed so that I hear less of those
Lunar
puns.
Crystallize, and we can see here that Lunar Crystallize is just such an interesting reaction, basically power creeping, let's be honest, hydro crystallized shards. But anyway, we can see here that the gravity interference attack is doing about the same amount as the Lunar Charge variant, which isn't that surprising. And then up next we have main Lunar Bloom DPS Columbina, and I switch over to the Wit Sith, as well as the 4-piece Knight of the Skies Unveiling. We are already over-critting, unfortunately, so yeah, that's definitely a big problem when it comes to building main DPS Columbina. But all's well that ends well. Fortunately, despite Lunar Bloom performing pretty poorly with off-field Columbina, on-field Columbina is able to single cycle the Registering with the 3-note Wit Sith buff, although of course
Eve to me is basically freedom. It's a giant open universe where you
Please team!
Free-to-play friendly, with Official as well as Sucrose with the VV plus Thrilling Tales, the Dragon Slayers pass that buff off to Flynn's, and a very clean 1 rotation of the Kongomoto, which is actually quite good for a free-to-play friendly team like this. Then we have, okay, what if you have the Nefa, and of course all the characters here are using their 4-star weapons Favonius on the Nefa, and yeah, I mean, you can expect this team to do even better than with Official, although thanks to Official's Hex Ride buffs, she actually does pretty good too, but now we can see that we are overkilling Kongomoto by about 500,000 damage, which is quite a lot of overkill for that. And then next, let's upgrade Columbina to Constellation 0, Refinement 1, so we're giving her signature Catalyst, and you can see just how big of an improvement this damage number gets with that 234,061 damage from Columbina's gravity interference attack. I mean, that is like a crazy amount for an off-field DPS like Columbina. And anyway, we can have a side-by-side comparison here to just kind of get a more objective.
Thank you.
A couple really interesting takeaways from this. You can watch the Ino fight, and you'll notice that it basically took every bit of damage that Flint could do to take it out, whereas in the Columbina version, you can see there's about 500,000 damage of overkill time. And yes, Ino's rotation time is a bit faster than Columbina's, and that's why the Ino team actually cleared this faster. But if Kongomoto had a bit more health, well, the Ino team would have to start a second rotation in order to take it out, whereas, well, the Columbina team did about at least 500k in overkill.
Fair enough.
Never say never. It's time for some Never team showcases. And starting off, we have Columbina, Never, Llama, and I guess I decided to go with Sucrose for the 4th slot. 4th slot is still definitely quite awkward. But either way, this team works very well with it also being a reasonably, like everyone's using 4-star only weapons and stuff like that. And we can actually see the damage that Columbina did there. So I edited it there with a different run. We can see 36,580 per hit on Columbina's gravity attacks. But what if, unfortunately, you don't have Llama? Well, the performance difference is quite significant, even with another decent 5-star character like Nahida. You can see here that Never is doing significantly less damage, as well as Columbina's
Adboard Wizard cracked me up
instead of the aforementioned 36,000 damage. So massive difference in comparison with that Llama. So here we have 3 different team comparisons, with one team replacing Nahida with Llama, and then the last team replacing Columbina with Constellation 6 Ino. And you'll notice here that actually Never, whether it was with Ino or Columbina, the 2 teams on the right, they actually cleared this in about the same amount of time. And this is a very similar situation to the Flynn's team, where Constellation 6 Ino, you're able to do enough damage in a single rotation to take it out. And I would estimate that the Columbina
that just gets 6 Ino easily.
Team
easily
overkilled it by a decent amount more than the Ino team.
Columbina who?
Especially since the second wave of attacks, the gravity attacks, from Columbina didn't even get to hit the robot, and Never didn't get hit with most of her final charge attack either. Yeah, definitely an improvement for Never teams over Ino, and well, without Llama, you can see that it is definitely a major downgrade. Okay, get ready for some main DPS Columbina. Here we can see.
No, that's misinformation. Columbina is much better than Ino, Chad. But the meme's funny.
I've already overcritted with her with Llama.
It would be really nice if they put Ino back on Columbina's banner again. It would be really nice, because there are multiple Lunar teams that we can make. So if we use Columbina for one team, Ino low Constellation on the other just feels bad. For example, if you have both Flynn's team or Nefer team and Nefer team, or if you have both Nefer and Zabai team, having Ino on a Columbina banner would really solidify it.
because you can only have 45% crit rate on a stat page in this situation with Llama's plus 10% crit rate to Lunar Bloom. But anyway, let's go ahead and take a look at how this team performs. I know here is also at Constitution 6, but yeah, so do keep that in mind. But here we go. We are just going 38,000 per tick on her charge attack, which is pretty decent, as well as a 37,000 ticks on the gravity interference attack. So not too bad, all things considered. I would describe this team as usable. But you know, we're talking a Nefa and Llama with Columbina, which is quite a heavy investment. And if you do indeed get Columbina's signature weapon, the Nocturne's Curtain Call, you'll notice a big jump in damage. Now the charge attacks are doing 51,000 damage each, a very significant increase to her damage output, a single cycling the Knuckle Duckle. But what if you don't have a Nefa? What if you don't have Llama? You just want to use a DPS Columbina? Well, you can use her in a more traditional Hyper Bloom team. I have to be honest, I don't remember if this was with Constitution 1 I know or Constitution 6 I know. But either way, we can see that the damage numbers are literally a fraction of what they were with Llama. And now she's doing 15k compared to the 30k from earlier, or the 51k with Llama plus her signature weapon. So yeah,
don't play Llama on for DPS without Llama.
Or a Nefa.
Bina. Did I say Bina? Did I say Llama? Don't play Columbina on your DPS without Llama.
It's Lunar Crystallized time, and we're going to start off with one of the more obvious characters being Navia. And Navia plus a Nefa feel actually quite good to use, but you know, as you're going to see in a bit, you might see Columbina plus a Nefa might just be carrying a lot of the weight of the teams on their backs here. But anyway, Lunar Crystallize is really interesting because now when you trigger Lunar Crystallize, it generates a bullet for Navia, so no need to pick up Crystallized Shards, although she would just be able to absorb them anyway, right? But anyway, the next team here is Noelle actually has no ICD on her attacks. So with that in mind, you can actually create a ton of Lunar Crystallized numbers. I mean, just look at this. Look how many numbers for Lunar Crystallized there are on the screen due to the lack of ICD on Noelle's
Lunar Crystallized!
I'm not going to say that, but it certainly is a way to output a ton of additional Lunar Crystallizes, which definitely makes it...
Oh my god, EM Noelle coming up.
A lot of fun to make all those numbers appear. So here I actually tried this team out a ton of numbers for Lunar.
Actually, let me check how fast this is.
Although she would just be able to absorb them anyway, right? But anyway, the next team here is Noelle actually has no ICD on her attacks. So with that in mind, you can actually create a ton of Lunar Crystallized numbers. I mean, just look at this. Look how many numbers for Lunar Crystallized there are.
Alright, that's trash, to be honest.
On the screen due to the lack of ICD on Noelle's attacks. Is it good?
This damage is trash.
A ton of additional Lunar Crystallizes, which definitely makes it a lot of fun to make all those numbers appear. So here I actually tried this team out against the Kongamoto, but this time with Chiori acting as a second sub DPS to also demonstrate how they are actually constructs. So because they are constructs, Chiori's Tomato and Tomato will both come out even at Constitution 0. So Constitution 0 Chiori owners are finally vindicated. Anyway, we can see here that the Lunar Crystallizes are actually contributing a non-negligible amount of damage. And yeah, Kongamoto was actually kind of single cycled there. Pretty impressive. And up next we have, for example, you can of course use Ito as the... is that the only other Geo DPS? Oh, we have Ningguang too. I forgot about her. But you can use Ito, of course, and I'd be lying if I said I remember how to do Ito's combo, so keep that in mind. But one thing that's really cool is that Columbina is basically acting as another functional sub DPS with the Lunar Crystallizes themselves. You can see there, those Lunar Crystallizes are definitely dealing a reasonable amount of damage. So even though Columbina is all by herself here, she actually can contribute a decent amount even without Ascendant Gleam, because as mentioned earlier, it's only her radius that is really affected by Ascendant Gleam on her skill. So yeah, and needless to say, you can of course use different combinations. I forgot, oh yeah, Chiori is another DPS character you can on field. Actually not quite sure how effective she is at being on field for this role, but it felt reasonable enough to include in this video, especially with Nefa, as we'll be talking about Nefa a lot more in a bit. But for now, we can see here that we're just, I don't even know when I'm doing this rotation, but it's just a proof of concept, guys. You can use, why I wanted to showcase this one is because of the Archaic Petra buff. In case you're unaware, if Archaic Petra triggers a Crystallize, it will actually provide that elemental damage bonus to that element, well in this case Hydro for Lunar Crystallize. So you can actually provide a Hydro plus 35% with the Archaic Petra thanks to Lunar Crystallize, which is definitely a massive improvement to the quality of life of Archaic Petra, at least for supporting literally just Hydro DPS characters like Nuvlet.
My work is easy because I use ClickUp. Here's how I keep track of all my tasks. I start by brain dumping everything I need to get.
Okay, Lunar wheelchair team.
So if you haven't noticed, we've seen a lot of Nefa plus Columbina, which I'm calling the Lunar Wheelchair. And in this demonstration, we can see just how powerful the Lunar Wheelchair is, with Nefa and Columbina completely off-field, with free-to-play friendly weapons, doing their shenanigans, and Nefa's artifacts aren't even that good. And we can see here that it is nearly wiping out the Dorito, just the two of them, while being completely off-field with no buffs from their teammates. Absolutely bonkers in all honesty, which is why Waivers put Nefa and Columbina on the banners at the same time, because these two form a very powerful Lunar Wheelchair core that can...
Is this a VV chest?
Carry a ton of characters that can, well, frankly, just utilize them. For example, pretty much any Hydro, Electro, Animo, and Geo DPS characters can be used with the Lunar Wheelchair. Of course, there are some exceptions here and there, but that's just a rough general rule of thumb. Like, for example, we just saw Chaska. And up next, we have Arlecchino as an example. We can even run Bennett here. We are indeed skipping out on Resistance Shred with this team, instead going for just more raw damage. So, not against all teams, this may not work out well, or against all like enemies, but at the very least against Kongamoto, it works just fine. I can probably significantly improve the rotation as well. It's just more of a proof of concept than anything in order to evade more of Arlecchino's damage. But we can also utilize Hu Tao, of course. Now, it's pretty redundant with Arlecchino.
Hu Tao mentioned!
So I figured, hey, let's give a quick showcase with her. What I really like about the Lunar Wheelchair core is that you can run the Knight of the Skies unveiling with your DPS characters. So Hu Tao normally would have to use like the Crimson Witch and stuff, which honestly doesn't feel fantastic. And you can just farm the Knight of the Skies because you're going to farm the Silken Moons anyway. So yeah, it ends up becoming a very, very cost-effective way in terms of artifact farming for obtaining good artifacts for your DPS character. And here we have a full wheelchair team, Lunar Soup team, where Shilin also contributes a couple of Lunar Crystallizes to the team. And you can just see here there's no main DPS character here, and who cares, because, well, these characters just do so much damage that it just works out fine.
Yeah, who cares?
We're reaching the point where sub DPS characters are contributing so much where they're able to fully carry teams based on their DPS alone. So we can even see that Mizuki and other Taser Swirl teams like that, whether it's Sucrose, Mizuki, etc.
This is all Mizuki, chat.
With this team,
all Mizuki.
A lot better. Well, Columbina plus Nefa, they're going to make it happen for you. And I think I ended up not showcasing some of the anime DPS characters, which I should have, like Wander or Xiao, but I mean, this video is already ridiculous.
Instructor on what? On who? They're
long. I think you guys get the point by now. And of course, you can use Electro DPS characters, like, for example, Marissa here. Marissa with Shenyuan, you can use Shenyuan to buff Marissa's damage more, or you can use someone like Sucrose in order to buff Columbina's and Nefa's damage.
Marissa! It's actually better than Farina from my calculation. Columbina in this team is actually better than Farina. However, I don't think Columbina Inefa would be worth it. I think Varesa, Columbina, Ian San, and Shan Yun is better.
Quite well, as well with the Columbina plus Inefa core.
That is, of course, with C0 Farina. But if you have Constellation on Farina, then Farina's gonna be better.
And oh my god, this video just keeps going. I got a couple additional...
Instructor Chaska, it's not gonna be as good. VV is significantly better. The meme is funny, but VV is better.
Showcases that didn't quite fall into the previous categories, and I have to say this free-to-play friendly taser team actually really surprised me. It's quite good, and Columbina is able to do some pretty significant damage, especially thanks to Sucro sharing that elemental mastery to every character on the team, as well as Fischl, after the Hexarai buffs, sharing some of her elemental mastery to the entire team. So yeah, surprising performance. With this one being a Nilo Bloom team, now I think there are probably better ways to play this team, but at the very least, Columbina definitely works for this team.
This is very informative. He tries out a shit ton of teams.
Charge attacks too while you're at it, the Columbina to utilize the Verdant Dews, but as we can see, it's able to take out the Knuckle Buckle, which is pretty good, although Nilo does have her signature weapon. Here we have Aggravate, and I gotta be honest, I mean, you gotta be into some self-inflicted pain if you still want to use Sino in 2026. But hey, I'm hoping for a round of buffs for Samara characters with Sino being one of the top candidates for it. But you can, of course, use it. And using it indeed is what we're doing. And this team definitely feels like the worst out of all of them so far. But also, Sino's artifacts are absolute trash. So do keep that in mind. This is not going to be reflective of the very well-invested Sino experience. So yeah, it's fun to kind of rag on Sino a bit here and there.
You wish Instructor on Goro can be changed to SMS on Iluga? That's the wrong way to say his name. Iluga. I have no idea how to say his name. Itlua. Without DPS loss, because Goro becomes so fragile with Instructor, low HP. You can use... I mean, it's not that much DPS loss. And to be honest, if you have to dodge, or if you are afraid to be up in front of the enemy's face due to you having low HP, that is also DPS loss. So choose your medicine, I guess.
But, you know, let's all hope for the best for him and hope Polyverse remembers he exists and helps him out a bit because, yeah, you know, he spends too much time playing his cards these days. And up next, we can even just use Columbina as a pure support character. In this example, Columbina is running the Thrilling Tales plus the Tenacity of the Millilith if you want, or she might be running the...
Those are fine options, actually. TTDS Columbina.
Damage. One or the other, it doesn't matter too much. You can either increase Navia's damage with Tenacity or you can increase Columbina's Lunar Crystallize. And you can even use her with Skirt and Escoffier. Personally, you can do this, okay? She works fine for this, but I prefer Fiorina for this role for obvious reasons because you have Escoffier. But she can pass the Thrilling Tales buff, she can activate Freeze, and she can equip the Tenacity, giving Skirt an attack buff. So yeah, usable for that role. Kind of an expensive use for that role though. And up next we have a Hydro damage nuke.
I think it's not worth replacing Columbina with Columbina. It's worth replacing the 4th slot, which is usually Shenhe, Yelan, Mona with Columbina though.
Columbina's Hydro multipliers are...
Or Silali or... What's her name? Mualani.
Actually decent, like when it comes to the raw Hydro damage she does. And not only that, but she actually just gives herself a lot of crit rate, so she can do some non-negative damage. And look at that, her elemental burst there did a little over 1.2.
No, that's not a real team.
464,000 damage Lunar Crystallized Nuke. Pretty funny new giant number for a new...
What are these teams?
Performs in the end game, and for all these runs, Columbina, the main on-field character, like DPS, in this case, in this team, it's going to be Columbina. These characters will have their signature weapons at Refinement 1, and all the other characters have it just their 4-star standard, like, support weapons or whatever. And when Columbina is a support character for these runs, she's going to be using Prototype Amber, but for this run, where she is the main DPS character, she's using her support weapons.
Oh, wait, I see it now.
Have their signature weapons at Refinement 1.
This is actually somewhat insightful toward the boss. I want to see how big the AoE for this boss is.
Have it just their 4-star standard, like
these minions are standing so far apart. Holy shit. They are standing so far apart.
It's a support character for these runs. She's going to be using the Prototype Amber. But for this run where she is the main DPS character, she's using her signature weapon.
That is... Ugh, that's very hard to fight against if you don't have Lunar stuff.
And we can see here that this boss is very weak to Lunar reaction type damage. Well, I wouldn't say like...
They are easily groupable by Venti, yeah?
But yeah, it's to using her signature type Amber.
I don't think you're even grouping them with Kazuha
when Columbina,
when they are this far apart. I see 1, 2, 3, 4 of them.
For these runs, she's going to be using...
You need 2 Kazuha skills.
Prototype Amber, but for this run where she is the main DPS character, she's using, support.
Are they even behind?
Have it just their 4-star standard, like, support weapons or whatever. When
that's 4 of them, right? Yeah, that's 4 of them. Yeah. Oh, that's tough. Kazuha will be barely able to group them. You have to position yourself perfectly, I assume, and then it's still gonna be rough. Sucrose is not grouping them. Sucrose positioning is extremely rough. I wonder if Yelan can group them. Yelan would need one more character. Maybe Yelan plus Kazuha will be able to group them. Probably gonna see it in some of the videos. Yeah, we'll see. Okay. Oh, sleep timer? What is this? If you've seen that Kazuha can group them easily, then it's really nice.
Using Prototype Amber, but for
Sucrose will not be able to group them easily. Venti will definitely do that very easily. Who else is a grouper? Kind of Hazel with Constellation, but that's also not good. It's kind of it.
For this run where she is the main DPS character, she's using her signature weapon. We can see here
for the meaningful grouping.
Weak to lunar reaction type damage. Well, I wouldn't say like very weak, but yeah, it's weak to lunar reaction.
Skirk team would just have to rely on Yelan
damage, so that's why obviously this team is going to do very well against it. But we can see here, and now that I'm watching it a bit more in detail versus just when I was doing the runs, you can see here that sometimes we do indeed lose the Hydro, which means that sometimes Lunar Charge might not be able to be doing all the shenanigans, but overall it still seems to be a reasonable team all things considered with a main DPS Columbina. I think if you maybe do some really optimized dash cancels with the N1s every other dash cancel with Columbina, you might be able to apply a bit more Hydro and have slightly better Lunar Charge uptime against enemies. But do I even know what I'm talking about? Honestly, I'm not entirely sure. But we can see here that this boss basically you need to break its shield, and yeah, Lunar Charge and Lunar type damage will break its shield a lot faster, and you can see some really comical Lunar numbers against this thing while its shield is up, because those numbers get multiplied by 3. And actually, I should have done my nuke showcases against this guy. Now I think about it, and in fact, maybe I will do one here. Very respectable all things considered. 5-star characters and signature weapon. This is also the same amount of investment, roughly, with 3 limited 5-star characters with Columbina, Llama, and Nefer. And
wait, how did they get grouped here? How did they get grouped here?
Proves this team, and considering like the investment level of the previous team, right? We're talking a 3 limited feature characters.
Oh. Okay, I see it. Sucrose Burst can group these guys quite well.
5-star character talking proves this team, and considering like the investment level of the previous team, right? We're talking a 3 limited feature.
If the Burst is positioned better, you can absolutely group all 4 of them, I think.
5-star characters and signature weapon. This is also the same amount of investment.
Though Sucrose skill and burst is a little bit hard to align because it's not around her, is she throwing, and sometimes she just target a random enemy.
3 limited 5-star characters.
That's
with,
nice.
Columbina, Llama, and Nefer, and this team definitely feels very premium. Feels very powerful, very strong. This typically happens with the release of a new Archon and such. The region, the DPS ceiling gets raised a bit, or at the very least,
from aggro,
with Columbina,
3-2 aggro.
Let's be honest, like, barely did anything. She just existed and applied Hydro, and that's pretty much it. But Columbina actually contributes quite a lot herself, whether it is in the damage. You can see each of those, like gravity interference, ticks dealing 38,000 damage, and the fact that she generates the extra dues means that now Llama
is aggro like a Genshin content creator
faster than Columbina main DPS. And we can also see, I think I showcased the builds here that I used as well. Here's Nefer's build with her signature weapon R1 as mentioned, and then we have the rest of the characters as mentioned on their support options. And Sucrose's slot in this team is obviously the most questionable, so there may even be another character to replace Sucrose in the future. But if you have some of the better like 5-star options, like for example Elegy Siegeween or Nilo with the Key of Caution stuff, so things like this are likely better than Sucrose, of course. But yeah, I mean, I gotta work with what we have here, being a slightly more free to this is with Nefa and Columbina. You guys saw the lunar wheelchair and how powerful that was. So yeah, Flynn's teams feels really smooth to use, and there's not even like a whole lot of confusing or difficult text or rotations like with the Nefer team. This team is super easy, super simple to use. You just go from one character to the next in a fixed rotation.
All right.
Nefa, instead, we'll just
there's no new information to be gotten here.
You only care about improving Nefer's performance, and you don't want to invest that much more, and you don't have Llama. Llama's going to be the better choice, but Columbina is obviously a fantastic upgrade from Ino. When it comes to Flynn's, the performance is a bit closer when comparing Nefa to Columbina. So yeah, there is that to keep in mind. And personally, I like the flexibility.
This team is not breaking the shield.
A lunar Archon obviously boosts the lunar meta to the next level, and she is the missing Hydro character for these teams. And I gotta be honest though, her value obviously
they can.
To Columbina. So
okay, my mistake.
Personally, I like the flexibility that Columbina provides, and she certainly does feel like a lunar Archon. Obviously boosts the lunar meta to the next level, and she is the missing Hydro character for these teams. And I gotta be honest though, her value outside of these lunar teams, at least right now, especially with the current roster of nod-krai moonsign characters, is questionable. So do keep that in mind, that you really want, that I can only really strongly recommend Columbina if you have, well, frankly, any of the other 5-star moonsign nod-krai characters. Let me know what you think about Columbina down in the comments below. As always, I appreciate every single one of you. This is I Want to Lose, signing out.
Oh, this team's clearing. God damn. Okay. Shit.
This is I Want to Lose, signing out.
Oh, shit. Okay. Good to know. That's fearless, though. So, Columbina Nefa is able to clear the fearless boss. That's good to know. Okay. Let's take a look at the aggro Columbina early access. Maybe. Hold on. We're gonna do our due diligence real quick. That's absolutely a useful video, so let me go ahead and do that. Aggro early access to Columbina. Okay, I'm gonna take a look.
So, looks like I've once again weaseled my way back onto the early access server. Yay! So we do have a here. Interesting. Alright, what do? You do a little smacking? I'm kind of confused. He's not entered any weird stalling phase like every boss they release nowadays does. He seemed... Oh, well,
there we go.
I'll shut up then. Okay, so we got a bunch of little, very easily grouped guys, and then you kill those.
Hey!
It does.
Okay,
so
okay. That's very nice.
Very easily grouped guys. Oh,
that's very nice.
Mind. I'll shut up then. Okay, so
I wonder how many skill he used to group them. One single skill and they are grouped?
Very easily grouped.
Alright. Okay. I feel much more confident about beating this with some different teams rather than just Luna then. Okay, let's take a quick break. We're gonna go back to this content creator as well. I think what we can see is take a look at DHCWSP, which is having some station or slot clearing content. This is gonna be slightly different from the just introduction about Columbina's kit and just see some actions going on, some high level gameplay. Okay. This is the Flames Premium team. I wonder what's the constellation of this. Do they say? C0 Flames team versus Stygian. This is Fearless. Kind of one phase of shield. Let me double check. Wait, what? Oh, I see. Just waiting on the burst. Yep, kind of one phase of shield. Not having enough ER on Columbina to burst, that is a little bit weird. These rotations are kind of scuffed, to be honest. But alright. 1 minute! Damn. 1 minute! Alright, let me double check. C0. Okay. Yeah, if it's 1 minute, then it clears Dies. Because Dies usually... Well, it's not always. Double H HP. Ish. Alright, C6. Nepo team, C0. Very cool. Very cool. A bit worse than Flame's team here. This is a Columbina DPS team, C0. Oh, C6 Nefer team. Oh, never mind. That, right. That's a Nilo. C6. Very cool. Let me double check for something real quick. Alright. Fair enough. C6 Plains versus Abyss. Absolute speedrun sweating. Okay. Wow, hold on. What knocked him from full to 0 HP? What knocked this guy from full to 0 HP? Is that an enough a proc? God damn. Because the gray HP is not filled right here. And then he got knocked from full to 0 once again. I think this is the enough a proc, right? Wait, what? Whose damage is this? Is that the Flame's proc? Flame's last burst hit? I have no idea whose damage this is. Is this Columbina? Is this enough? It's also save me. Alright, this guy stands no chance. D6 never. Not even